updated it. No, wait, I did. I did update that on my. I did do that. Can't stay up late. What? Oh yeah, what? School night? Yeah, man. I'm a late person. I'm a late. I stay up late. I typically look. I do this full time now, right? So, and I've always been a night person. So I don't have a 9 to 5. I do this shit. I'm just a night person. I'm pretty much up. If a normal person is up from like 9 a.m. to, let's say, like, I don't know, 12 a.m. the next day, or 11 p.m. or whatever, then I am up from, probably 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. the next day. So yeah, man, I have like the opposite schedule. Like it's weird, man. I don't know what happened. Like one day it just kind of flip flopped, and this is how it is. So until I get another 9 to 5, that's probably how it's gonna be. But yeah, I did say 10 p.m. Eastern time, but I run on Black People time. Black People time is an hour behind. So, you know what I mean? Anyway, you graduated last year, Derpy? Oh, Monday is MLK Day. I didn't remember that. So okay, so y'all ain't got no fucking excuses then. Y'all ain't got no fucking excuses not to be on my live stream. You got no excuses. I don't want to hear it. Oh man. No, Owen, this is the new debate. Oh, guys, everyone who's on my TikTok right now, please come on over to my YouTube. The link is in my bio. I am going to be breaking down the abortion debate that I just had with Victoria yesterday. And yeah, so we're going to be going over this whole thing. Hey, thank you, Daydream, for the TikToks, but please come on over to my YouTube. All right? We're going to be breaking down this whole thing. All right? Okay. You are hot. That's facts. Finish your finals. Good job for you guys. All right. Bro, we got... Okay, cool. Blah, blah, blah. Fix the sound. What's wrong with the sound? Can someone not hear me? Is my mic not on? Can y'all not hear me through this incredible mic? Y'all should be hearing me through this incredible mic. Here, let me check my settings. Audio... Mic. My mic is hot. Mic is definitely hot. Are y'all good with my sound? It's buzzing. Okay, hold on. It's buzzing. Why the hell is it buzzing, damn it? Did that fix it? Let me know. Kind of buzzy. Okay, let me know if it's still buzzing. What's my YouTube on TikTok? It's on my it's in my bio. It's buzzing. That's weird. It's still buzzing. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna fix it. Hold on, let me see through my headphones so I can hear it. Ah, gotcha. Okay, hold on. Buzzing. That's weird. Where the hell is the buzzing coming from? Hold on. We're gonna reconnect some shit. Maybe it's this part. Taking this off. And do I even read? I didn't read this. This is going directly into. Hold on. This shall go directly into. Where is this going? Blah, 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 and then this goes here. That goes into there. Okay. Is it still buzzing? Or are we still buzzing? I'm gonna have to re-upload this because it's all fucky now. So I'm gonna have to like stop this and then re-upload the whole thing later. Bussin'. G Perez is bussin'. All right, are we still buzzing or are we good? Still buzzing. What the fuck? Why is it buzzing, damn it? It's not too bad, Tyler. We can deal. Nah, I don't like the buzzing. The buzzing would annoy the shit out of me. No buzz. You can't hear buzz because you're on TikTok, damn it. We're talking about the people on YouTube. We good? Something is buzzing. It might not be the mic. Buzzing. Okay, hold on. Huh. Why is it buzzing? Okay, so this part. Let's see. Alright, so this part is really just. So let me put it here. And then the only thing that's coming in here. So this is really just a mic, or this is just the audio. So I don't know why it would have any type of. Just turn down the. Maybe if I turn that down, maybe that fixes it. I don't know. Did that fix anything? Let me know. Probably not though. But all of my shits look good. I don't know why it's. I don't know why. I don't know. Y'all gonna have to deal with it. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you at that point. Yeah, I know it got louder because I turned the volume up. So Blitz says it's fixed. Landon says, yeah, it was gone probably because it came back because I plugged it in. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I don't know. It's buzzing even louder, and now I'm buzzing even more. Oh, wait. Ryan says it sounds good. No buzzing. So are we good? Oh shit. That's funny. I'm trying. Okay, hold on. I keep freezing. All right, take the banner off. Do. It's buzzing, but it's cool. No, it's not cool. Some people are saying it's not buzzing. But it's not cool if it is. I mean, I don't know why it would be. I don't know why the shit would be. I don't know what to say. It's not even that annoying. All the people tripping. Okay. So all the people tripping. Okay, so yeah, so quit fucking around. It's definitely buzzing. It's not they trolling. Okay. So they trolling. It's like nothing. Okay, all right, so we're just gonna keep it moving. All right. So I see you guys on TikTok say it's not even that bad. All right, cool. So we're just gonna keep it moving. Fuck it. It is what it is. It's just hella quiet. Okay. Well, I don't know what to tell y'all. I'll fix it later. Okay. Cool. All right, so we're gonna get into this, man. Because y'all volume up too loud. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. But anyway, so we're just gonna get right on into this, man. So this is the debate that I had with Victoria Hammett on abortion yesterday. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, I had an abortion debate with Victoria Hammett. I don't know, 3 weeks ago, maybe. It was on her Instagram page, and yeah, beat her then, and I believe that I trashed her even worse this time. So because this time she fell into so many logical inconsistencies, and it was just terrible. So and then you can see immediately how bad faith of an arguer she is. Like, legitimately, she would say things that I was doing that she, like, it was actually her that was doing these things. I think that she talked to somebody. She said at the very end that she was talking to Jonah, like Jonah Axum. And I was like sitting here, I was like, I think Jonah Axum told you a bunch of phrases to say, but you don't actually know what they mean. So it was literally projection. Like everything she was saying I was doing, I was like, well, that's not me, Victoria. That's you. Like it's just not me. But yeah. He not you lagging. Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Jon Snow says she lost in 15 minutes, man. She did full fast, FIFA. So let me know if the buzzing, is it too much? Do I have to like restart this whole fucking thing? Do I have to figure out what the buzzing is and then come back, or like are y'all gonna be able to deal with this shit right now? So y'all let me know in the comments right freaking now. Also, shout out to the guy who just sent me a donation, man. I definitely appreciate it. It's completely fine. Cool. All right, cool. So we're going to keep it moving. All right, so here we go. So we're going to get into this. I think the debate was probably about an hour or a little over an hour. The whole thing was like 2.5 hours, but that's because the way that the debate is structured is they allow an hour or an hour and a half of questions. I'm not going to play that part. If you guys want to see the questions, it's like basically people that are in the comments, they will ask questions and then we answer them. Most of them were questions for me, actually. So if you want to go and watch me answer those questions, you can go ahead and watch that on the link. It's Modern Day Debates on YouTube. You'll see the video right there. But I'm just going to go into the debate that just it was just me against Victoria, not answering the questions. So okay, so let's go ahead and get into this.
Ladies and gentlemen, thrilled to have you here for another epic debate. If this is your first time here at Modern Day Debate, I'm your host, James Coons, and we are a neutral platform hosting debates on science, religion, and politics. And so I want to let you know, no matter what walk of life you are from, we hope you feel welcome and we're glad you're here. Now, if you're sick in the head like us and you like juicy, controversial debates, want to let you know we are thrilled that Matt Dillahunty and Dr. Josh will be debating Stuart and Cliff Nettle, a real-life father and son tag team debate team. And so that will be exciting. That's coming up this month. You'll see that at the bottom right of your screen. And so, hey, if you like those controversial topics, hit that subscribe button right now. That way you don't miss any of them.
You can't hear me, motherfuckers, because I was muting myself. I know when I mute myself, damn it. I was talking to my TikTok crowd, and I didn't want y'all to hear me on YouTube. I know. Let's continue.
And we are also on podcasts. So if you like listening to podcasts, well, hey, you're in luck. We're on virtually every podcast app. Check us out. And if you cannot find us on your podcast app right now, you can tell us in the live chat and we will work to get on there for you. So for tonight's debate, it's going to be a good one, folks. We're very excited about this. We have two guests. You could say who are titans or juggernauts from the world of TikTok. We're thrilled to have them joining us and want to start introducing them first with
real quick. How does my mic sound compared to the YouTube video? Am I much louder? Am I like the same level, or am I much lower? Can y'all tell me that real quick in the YouTube? Echo from the mic? Okay, yeah. I'll turn down the echo, or I'll put my headphones in. But can y'all let me know? You're fine, but there's an echo. Yeah. Okay, I'll put on my headphones. I don't like having my headphones on here when I do this, but I think there's an echo cancellation thing here. Okay, hold on. Audio echo cancellation. Here we go. There's an echo cancellation thing. Tell me if this is better.
Victoria. They're both linked in the description, folks. So if you'd like to hear more from our guests, you can.
Is there still an echo?
That are in the description.
Is there still an echo on the mic? I'm gonna this live thing. I'm gonna delete it and then I'm gonna re-upload it, clipping only just the debate part, because this has been fucking disaster in the beginning. Up more, worse. God, you motherfuckers! I feel like y'all trolling. So echo when you play the video. Okay, so I'll put in my headphones. It's not a big deal. Okay, hold on. I gotta get my headphones. Y'all some picky motherfuckers, man. Picky, damn it. What do you think this is? You think this is Papa? You think this is Papa Guts channel? You think we have shit all figured out over here? We don't, man. We don't. We got nothing figured out on Tyler Bluntman's channel. Hold on. Yep. Nope. Yeah, I hear no buzzing. So I don't know if y'all are still fucking complaining. I promise y'all, I'm gonna IP address all of y'all, and that's it. Showing up at every. Did y'all ever see Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? Where at the very end of the movie, they go to all the kids that were talking shit to them online. They fly out to every one of their homes, and they straight up just kick their asses. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do to every one of y'all. If y'all say one more shit, it's gone. Is it gone? Did I fix it? Did I accidentally fix it? I think I knew what it was. I was plugging one of these things into like another thing that was plugged into another thing. I just eliminated that. Oh, man. All right, cool. John, that would be kind of hilarious, right? I have to go with somebody, though. Like, you know, Jay had a partner, Silent Bob. Silent Bob had a partner, which is Jay. So I guess I maybe just show up with me and Topher. Me and Topher just going to kick the shit out of some motherfuckers. IP address. Yo, are you Mad Dog 24? Dude is like fucking 13 years old. It's like, yeah. Okay, did you say this about Tyler Bluntman? Yeah, I said that. Oh, okay. Oh, shit. Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. So we're good then. All right, cool. All right, so are we good? Can we fucking continue? You prima donna motherfuckers. Can we continue? Is the buzzing stopped? Can you hear me? Is there no fucking echo? Can we continue? Good. Yes. Okay. Finally. Damn. All right, here we go.
Right now. So with
that's
that,
gotta come
Victoria,
through. Wait.
thrilled to have you here with us.
Gotta have that come through my headphones.
If you'd like to share,
we go.
what can people expect to find at your link in the description?
Yeah, thank you so much. If you guys are interested, go ahead and click the link in the description to go to my TikTok. I talk about politics and whatever else I want to talk about. So go check me out there.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being here again, Victoria. We appreciate it. And Tyler, thanks as well for being here. What can people expect to find at your link in the description?
Oh man, a whole bunch of no good on my TikTok. So still on political TikTok, absolutely. You will definitely find more triggering topics on my TikTok, and definitely the least amount of filter that I can have without getting banned on TikTok. So yeah, that's what you'll find over there.
I know when I'm muted, motherfuckers. I was talking to TikTok. All right, let's continue.
You got it. So thanks so much to both of our guests for being with us. We're going to jump right into it. Victoria is going to start, and their opening statement is very flexible. So if they want to use as little as a minute or less, they can. That's up to them, and it can be as long as 10 minutes, and then we'll go right into the open conversation. If you happen to have a question, folks, feel free to fire that question into the old live chat. If you tag me with @ModernDayDebate, it makes it easier for me to get every question in that Q&A list. So with that, thanks so much. Victoria, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, James. Tyler, thank you for meeting with me again. My biggest hope for this debate is just that both of our followers are able to step out of their echo chambers for a bit and hear more about the other side. And
man, you know what my goal was. My goal was to just dunk on fucking Victoria. So that was my goal. So typically you will see me, anybody who sees me like on Omegle doing debates and things like that, my legitimate goal is always to really try and change someone's mind. I really want people to become pro-life. It's the most important thing. Besides gun control is the most important thing that I believe in and that I want to try and convince people to do. However, I have learned since in my last debate and just seeing Victoria on political TikTok in general, if you have not seen her, I find her to be completely disingenuous, dishonest. I find her to not really know what she's talking about on most of the topics she's talking about, specifically abortion. I find her to be very uninformed and uneducated on the topic, yet and completely unwavering in her unwillingness to concede when she clearly either contradicts herself or has no idea what she's talking about. In fact, if she constantly will get dunked on political TikTok, but if it's something that's just completely irrefutable, like, I mean, it's just like either it's like numbers, data, or whatever, if it's something that's just completely irrefutable, she will wipe that shit from existence. She will delete the motherfucking video and nobody will know. You know what I mean? So like straight up, like she'll just fucking delete videos. She did that with my last video when she was trying to call me out for like a definition. She had 2 videos on it, and then as soon as I proved her wrong, that's got like 500,000 views now. She's like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and just remove these videos. It ain't never happened. So yeah. So knowing that going into this debate, I really didn't think that I was going to change Victoria's mind, and I really just wanted to just debunk the bullshit that she was talking about. But in general, when I go into debates, most debates, I am looking to change that person's mind, or at least give them something that will plant a seed and grow in their mind to where, okay, well, maybe I'm just not right on this. But anyway, so let's go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so thank you guys both for being here. On that note, I'll get right into it. As a society, we deprive various multicellular organisms of life and deem it ethical frequently, like plants, for example. We deem humans as beings of moral consideration because we're capable of consciousness and subjective experience.
So you can straight up tell, and she said this later in the debate, I think nearing the end when we actually get to like the questionnaire. I think she straight up got this from like Jonah Axum, this whole moral consideration and value and so on and so forth. She said that she talked to Jonah Axum or whatever. I feel like she's getting it straight from him or from one of those other people in that circle, because her whole argument, you can tell that she knew what my argument was, which really hasn't changed since the last time I debated her. And so she should be able to work with that, but she's still basing it off of like this whole value of human beings when that is not it has nothing to do against my argument. My argument trumps her argument. So she couldn't even tweak her argument to where it's like, okay, well, I have to argue against Tyler, and Tyler has this argument, but Tyler's argument isn't value, right? I think that to say the whole moral consideration based on personhood or based on human beings in general, it's like, well, we grant moral consideration to certain humans. It's like, well, if you have sentience or if you're at a sentient level, it's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, especially when you're talking about like other species. It's like, I don't give a shit about other species. Why the fuck do I care about other species? I'm not a fucking vegan. My argument isn't just you have to be sentient. That doesn't make you a person, right? Sentience doesn't make you a person, right? So like, I don't give a shit about other species, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, I could not care less. You know what I mean? We don't not grant them that the biggest issue with this whole thing. Well, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. So let me go ahead and play. I'm talking too much.
None of these defining attributes are present in fetuses within the first trimester of pregnancy. We know this because of their lack of development in brain structures related to all of the things that I just mentioned. For this reason, fetuses at this stage of development, being in the first trimester, are not beings of moral consideration, and depriving them of life cannot be considered murder or unethical. Legally, I do not think that a person should be required to use their body or their resources to host one of these non-sentient beings, which I personally do not think are beings of moral.
Now listen to what she is saying. She is trying to put two separate arguments together, and it's not going to work. It completely contradicts her. This is why I'm saying that Victoria is not only does she not even really, she doesn't have like a solid stance on abortion. Clearly she's not informed. Clearly she's not educated, doesn't really even know her own thing, but I don't find her to be, I don't know, that intelligent on the topic, you know. So like, she is trying to use bodily autonomy, which is what she's talking about right now, in that also has the argument of, well, they have to have consciousness or sentience at this point. And she'll go on to say that that the first trimester, I think she actually said that already, is that she's arguing for first trimester. Anything after first trimester, which I do ask her later, anything after first trimester should be illegal because they're now sentient beings. Well, that has nothing, you can't have that with bodily autonomy, Victoria, which I told her. You can't have that with bodily autonomy because bodily autonomy has nothing to do with non-sentient or sentient. It actually has to do really more so with sentience, right? Or with sentient beings, right? So like the whole thing was like, well, you can't force someone to give you a kidney. You know what I mean? Blah, 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 blah. These are actual persons. So if her argument was bodily autonomy, she can't say, well, I'm only arguing for first term abortions because, you know, that they're not sentient. But if you really valued bodily autonomy, then you would say it all the way up until birth, even after birth, right? So bodily autonomy is at any point in time, right? So all the way up until birth, you can go ahead and kill that person. So she doesn't even understand her own stances. Let's continue.
Consideration.
That. And with that, we will kick it over to Tyler for his opening statement as well. Thanks so much, Tyler. The floor is all yours.
Sure. So so I'm basically pro-life for three reasons. One, I subscribe to personhood originating at conception. Two, I believe that all human persons, have the equal right to life. And then three, if an individual's voluntary actions force another person into a state of physical dependency, it would be immoral to remove that dependency if the result ended in the loss of that person's life. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you very much. We'll jump right into open conversation. And so long as it goes smooth, we'll just kind of let it go where it goes. Otherwise, if it starts to get a little bit too rocky, we'll just break it into 2 or 3.
Yo, look at Victoria, bro. Look just like how confident she is. Like, how confident, even knowing that she already contradicted herself, because she can't say that it's first term abortion and also bodily autonomy, but like she's just so confident in this. It's just oh man, it's unfoundly. It's staggering. But let's go ahead.
So much. The floor is all yours.
So do you want to ask me a question, or do you want me to ask you a question first?
You know what? Let's get right into it. I'll go on your third point of why you are pro-life. Just this idea that if you voluntarily let someone into your home, you don't have the right to or not your home, sorry, but if you willingly, why don't you restate that third point? Actually, I don't want to misinterpret what you said.
Yes. So if an individual's voluntary actions force another person into a state of physical dependency, it's immoral to remove that dependency knowing that they would die.
Okay. And I mean, are you comfortable with me referencing our previous debate?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So I remember in our previous debate, you mentioned like if a child comes into your home, maybe you welcome a child into your home, right? Do you have the right to then kill that child? And I was basically saying no, but you have the right to evict that child from your home. What I would like to say on that point as well is, in all of these analogies, from my perspective, it doesn't make sense to compare a sentient being and a non-sentient being, because that is the reason I would deem someone a being of moral consideration. That is what gives someone personhood to me, is this consciousness. So while I do not...
So hear what she's saying. She's saying that you can't compare a non-sentient being to a sentient being. Now, I would agree when we're talking about strictly arguing, even though I believe it to be a person no matter if they're sentient or not, I would agree to, if you're just talking about being like a good faith debater, then you can't just keep saying, well, no, it's a person, so I'm going to argue it as a person if they don't believe it's a person. At that point, you have to argue personhood first, which is why I implore her a couple of times, like, well, then Victoria, we need to talk about personhood first. Before we even get into this. But this is the point that I'm making, is that she'll say, well, you can't really compare a non-sentient being to a sentient being, but then goes into analogies herself of comparing it to a person. Like when she's saying, you heard her just a second ago before she cut her own self off, where she was like, well, if you invite someone into your home, you are now comparing it to a sentient being, Victoria. You literally are telling me that I can't do something that you are doing. Let's continue.
Agree that these situations would be morally equivalent. I want to kind of like work with you on that example and kind of explain why I don't think that you should be pro-life in this regard either.
Okay, so now she's saying, she's like, okay, well, you know what? They're not sentient. This one's not sentient, and this one is sentient. But okay, you know what? I am going to grant you some type of leeway here, which she really isn't going to grant me. So, right, so she says that she's going to grant me this leeway, but she won't, as you will see as we progress, because I'll even say, it's like, Victoria, you know, you said that you were going to grant me some leeway here, so are you going to, or are you not going to? Like, you could see that as soon as the heat gets turned up, she's like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and retract what I said. But let's go ahead and continue.
Because as I understand, tend to subscribe to a lot of libertarian ideology, right? I've kind of gathered that from your content. More or less. Yeah. So you're basically small government type of guy. Is that kind of fair to say?
Yeah.
So how do you feel in general about positive rights and positive obligations?
What do you mean?
So basically there are two types of rights, positive rights and negative rights. Negative rights are freedom from something. So our freedom of religion is the freedom we have to practice without interference. Positive rights, on the other hand, are our right to certain things, but it requires something of someone else. So whenever I say that healthcare is a human right, in a lot of ways, that is a positive right, because I would be saying like someone's right to healthcare is their right, and they're going to need something from their community in order to have that right. So that's a positive right. And this idea that you have of, like I remember in our last thing, if someone wanders into your home, do you have the right to deprive them of life? And
well, let me interject for just a second.
Yeah.
So just because I don't think that, like, it's almost like we're going to go into like bodily autonomy or something like that. But the thing is that you don't believe that it's a person anyway, right?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But
okay.
I do want to level with you though.
Okay. Well, we don't have to do that. So let's just, instead of getting there, why don't we just focus on the personhood first?
I mean,
what
yeah,
makes a person
I would.
a person?
Well, I would like to kind of complete my point because I think it would be helpful for your kind of like small government audience. So my biggest thing is that when you're asking a woman to host a baby in her stomach, you are saying that the right to life is a positive right. Is that fair to say? The right to that fetus's right to life is a positive right. It's requiring something of the mother, right?
Requiring what of the mother?
Her body, her resources, food, nutrients.
Yeah, a mother is obligated to provide those things for her child. Yeah.
Right. But again, this isn't a child yet. This is a fetus. This is a separate entity.
Now, see,
I thought you just said that.
And here, okay, I was making sure that I did say this because I haven't rewatched this yet, so making sure I said
You
this.
were going to grant me leeway and say that it is a person.
Okay. I don't think it's necessarily fair to say, to assign like an age to that being necessarily, because it's not equivalent to a child. It's as equivalent to a child as it would be to an adult, if that makes sense.
So see what I'm saying already. So she's like, look, I'm going to grant you some leeway, but and then as soon as we talk about it, it's like, well, it's not the same thing. It's like, well, Victoria, you're actually talking about someone wandering into your home. So like, what are we talking about here? Like, come on, like you need to have a solid foundation for your own argument. And it's just so much of a mess already. It's so much of a mess. And we haven't even got into anything. So, okay, continue.
Okay, you could say like you could call it a fetus, but to me that's a person. Are you okay? So in this question that you're asking me, basically, is what I'm asking you is, are you saying that it is a person for your argument that you're about to make, or it isn't?
I'm saying that even though you believe that it is a person, you should not necessarily believe in forcing a woman to give up her resources for that non-sentient, non-conscious being.
Okay.
So
you're talking about bodily autonomy. Okay.
Bodily autonomy in a way. But I do want to clarify.
So this is what she's trying to do. So she's trying to make it such a narrow argument, and she's not even able to make this argument. She's trying to use bodily autonomy, but using bodily autonomy as if it's not a person because it's not sentient. You can't. That's not what bodily autonomy is. Bodily autonomy is no matter if they are sentient or non-sentient, you have the right of to govern yourself. You own yourself, right? You are your own property. No one else can own you. Right, this isn't fucking 1820. So that is bodily autonomy, right? Now, obviously, I will break down the walls and barriers of bodily autonomy argument for sure. But what she's doing is she's already so bad faith because she's trying to say, well, no, look, it's bodily autonomy, but we can't use this for this non-sentient being. So completely bad faith. But let's go ahead.
That I would treat a fetus differently than a child because of sentience and consciousness, just for my future argument. I don't want to subscribe completely to the bodily autonomy argument because I don't think it summarizes my position fully enough. But I guess my point to you is that I find
Victoria, I'm so sorry, but like if it's not going to summarize it, then shouldn't we focus on personhood first? Then doesn't that make sense?
This is the second time I've asked her.
You asked me where I wanted to start. This is where I want to start.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I guess my point to you is I find it interesting. I'm not even I want to make this very clear throughout this whole debate. I'm not trying to debunk you here. I'm just trying to get an understanding of your ideology because where I am standing, you don't typically believe in positive rights. You don't typically believe that a being is worthy of something if it requires something of another being. And so that's why I'm a little bit confused in your pro-life stance and the pro-life stance of many libertarians, because it does seem to be very rooted in the idea of like rights, human rights, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so when it comes to like bodily autonomy or whatever.
So I just had got finished telling her, well, she asked me if I have some libertarian leanings, and I was like, meh. But I am not a libertarian. I don't claim to be a libertarian. I have some libertarian leanings, but I am not a libertarian. So I don't know why she's making it seem as if I am.
I just believe that that a person has a moral obligation to accept the consequences of their actions if they consciously and voluntarily act on them. I mean, do you disagree?
Well, see, a question that I would want to pose to you, and I'm sorry, I'm having internet problems. I would bring up the name of the philosopher who posed this question. But in regards to your kind of like evictionism argument.
She's not answering my question. You will notice this multiple times in this debate. I asked her a very direct question. This is even a yes or no question. Right? Are people morally obligated to accept the consequences of their actions if they consciously and voluntarily act on them? I asked her a very direct question. She will not answer the question. And you will see that I will become frustrated as time goes on, just because she will either refuse to answer my question. It's just intellectual dishonesty, right? There's no way, I mean, unless she can't pay attention for like 10 seconds, like, and just, I don't know, just not understanding me or just waiting to talk the entire time. But like, she is not answering my question, right? So she's trying to go in, oh, well, let me talk about this. No, Victoria, answer the question, please. Let's continue.
Let's say that there was an apocalyptic storm raging.
I just asked you a question. You didn't answer my question.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't mean to answer a question with a question, but I'm trying to just repeat.
It was a yes or no. It wasn't even. It was just yes or no. Do you believe that, like what I said, or no?
Well, obviously, I disagree with your stance on abortion. That's why we're here.
Well, no. Well, it doesn't even have to be necessary to abortion. It's a general question, right? So, do you believe that people have a moral obligation to accept the consequences of their actions if they consciously and voluntarily act on them?
I would say that that's just too general and too broad of a statement to make.
Okay, if you're playing soccer in your neighborhood and you accidentally kick a ball through a neighbor's window, are you absolved from those consequences?
No, not necessarily. But if someone wanders, if someone opens your unlocked door and comes into your house, are they now, because you left the door unlocked, are they able to just live in your house?
Well, that's disanalogous to.
It's not disanalogous because that would be suffering.
Let me finish my point.
Sorry.
So it's disanalogous to abortion or pregnancy in general, because when it comes to pregnancy, you force that person into your home. So if you were to say, yes, well, Tyler, can you force someone into your home and then kill them if they don't leave, and be like, no, that's immoral. You cannot force someone into your home and then kill them.
Right. Very, very clear. I've made, and I will make this argument like many times. Like, look, you force this person into a state of dependency. You force them into a state of dependency. You force them into a state of dependency. You forced them there. They didn't wander in. There ain't no fucking Virgin Marys, right? You may believe in the one Virgin Mary, but these chicks out here are not Virgin Marys. The sperm doesn't just, I'm just going to go ahead and, this looks nice. This looks like a nice place to go into. Zoop, I'm going to go in there. No, that doesn't happen, right? And my whole argument is based on consensual sex. Consensual, right? So, yeah, it didn't just wander in there, Victoria. You acted in a way that forced that life into being, right? So, right here, I'm telling her that this is disanalogous, right? Victoria is incapable of making an accurate analogy, and I have to constantly, like, through this debate, have to tell her, it's like, Victoria, that's disanalogous. This is why. Like, I constantly have to do that for her. So it's almost like a teaching moment. And it's so funny because, like, if you look in the live comments, or even the comments that are posted on that video, by the way, if you even just look at the comments, like, people don't like me on the political left, definitely. I'm arrogant, and the way that I go about things is, I will debunk the shit. I'm with the shits, right? I don't care about being nice. I don't care about any of that shit, specifically against, specifically against a person that I already don't respect. I don't respect Victoria's debate skills. I don't respect her honesty, because I don't believe that she is very honest. I find her to be incredibly disingenuous, as we will see as time goes forward. And I don't even really respect her intelligence when it comes to this specifically. I'm not saying her intelligence as a whole. I don't know if she's intelligent or not intelligent as a whole, but specifically when we're talking about topics like this, like abortion, that she clearly lacks any type of education on, right? Or at least she just has, like, the talking points, right? She can't actually think on the spot. She can't analogize anything. So I don't really respect her in that regard. So yeah, so I don't care about being nice, right? I care about, look, I'm going to debunk this shit. I'm going to overcome these arguments. That's it. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to be nice. So yeah, so here we go. Let's keep it going. So Victoria not being able to analogize, number one.
Okay, so let me bring up this analogy then.
Here's another one.
With that I just said, at least.
Well, no, I don't necessarily, and here's why. I don't think that someone should be, even if, because again, our view on pregnancy is very different too. For me, a more similar analogy to using like birth control and condoms and then getting pregnant would be something more like leaving your door unlocked and having someone wander into your home, because it's not intentional. It's not like these people were trying to get pregnant, just like you'd be trying to force someone into your home.
No,
Does that make sense?
It wouldn't be the same. No, it wouldn't be the same, because somebody somebody coming into your home, that would be somebody made that decision to come through your home, right?
Yeah, I guess in a way.
Okay. Look, you can even just tell by her by her response there. She's like, "Yeah, I guess they would have to make that decision to come into your home. Fetus cannot make that decision. An embryo, a zygote, cannot make that decision. You force them there. That's it."
So I would say that it's not analogous. Like if you want to make it like okay,
sorry.
Well, hold on. So I could say this. So this is what I'm saying. Like, to get into like the bodily autonomy argument is, I would really just be arguing that it is a person, kind of like you are, but it's not going to matter because you don't believe that it's a person. So, right. I mean, it's, even if I overcome this, you would just say, well, it's not a person anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, like, that's why I'm saying I think that we have to start at personhood before we get into bodily autonomy.
This is the third time that I have asked her, implored her, that we need to go with personhood. Right? Third time that I've asked her now.
Yes, I want to ask
because
question.
Last thing, I'm sorry. Because if you're talking about bodily autonomy, which, I mean, you said that in our previous debate, I want to know if you still hold this value. You believe that abortion should be legal up until the 18th week, right? Or first trimester. First
trimester, yeah.
Okay, and everything after that, and I mean, unless there's like some crazy rare circumstance, you would believe that it should be illegal. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, so when you're talking about bodily autonomy, it's not going to matter, Victoria, because bodily autonomy is based off of property rights and the right to like you own yourself. Okay, I understand. So it wouldn't. So I can absolutely compare that to an actual to what you would believe is an actual person, because bodily autonomy isn't just it extends to persons, right?
Right.
So,
no.
So I think that we have to start with personhood before we go to bodily autonomy.
So that's why I'm saying, it's like, look, is your argument bodily autonomy, or is it first trimester because they are not sentient? That is what I'm trying to get her to do, because you cannot do both of these things, right? You can't say that that we have to cut off abortion at 12 weeks or whatever I think the first trimester is like 12 weeks, right? At the first trimester, and second and third should be illegal in general. I mean, you know, she says in certain circumstances, but in general, it should be illegal, as she just said. But then also say, well, no, it's bodily autonomy. Well, no, Victoria, bodily autonomy would then go up until birth, if that is your argument. The bodily autonomy argument is up until birth. You don't even understand your own arguments. You don't understand it. I feel like she probably like watched a debate, talked to somebody, maybe Jonah Axum or whoever, because she said that she was talking with him. And then she thought that she had a really good grip on this shit. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, this is easy. You know what I mean? But clearly doesn't even understand her own arguments. And she said she used to be pro-life too, by the way. So she said that, not in this debate, but I think I've seen her, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not trying to misrepresent her, but I could have sworn I saw a video of her saying that she used to be pro-life. I don't know what made her pro-choice, because her own arguments just, they don't even make sense. Right? She can't even properly articulate her own arguments without contradicting herself. So weird. Let's go ahead and continue.
I agree, but the analogy, because here's the issue here, is that you believe that it is a person. I believe that it's not. So if I preach my side, I'm only preaching to my audience. I want to kind of talk to you and your audience. I want to know
why it's a person. Why you? I'm sorry. I want to know why you believe it's not a person.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. We started with your stance. We can go back to your stance, and we can start with my stance if you'd like. But I would really like to talk about the analogy I have, where I kind of consider that it is a person for you and for your audience. Just an analogy I have for you, a question, just to test your logical consistency. Can I ask my question?
Sure.
Okay. let's say this is okay. Fun thought experiment, everyone. Let's all get a little bit less serious. Okay, well, it's actually not a fun thought experiment at all. It's very sad. But let's say that there's like apocalyptic storm raging outside, death, despair everywhere. Sucks, right? Okay.
Some would say that that's on the brink of happening today.
I gotta tell you, the more I read the news, the scarier it gets. But okay, so that's happening. Sucks. Whatever. So do you think, even if you invite a person into your home at first, do you think that you are required to—
Look, again, she's talking about if you invite a person into your home, she's not acknowledging, right? And I've said it multiple times. She is not acknowledging that you forced the person to be there. You didn't just invite them, right? Not to mention that, like, even if you do invite a person into your home, you can't kill them if they don't leave, right? But it is important to note you forced them there. You didn't just invite them. You forced them. Even if she wanted to go with invite, though, it wouldn't matter. You can't kill someone for you inviting them into your home and then they don't leave when you want to, and then you can't kill them for that, right? So, but anyway, and then not even acknowledging that, like, you're talking about a person, and first of all, this is closer to an actual baby, right? If you're going to say person, you're comparing it to a person, okay, then to make it as analogous as possible and to be good faith, you would say that this is closer to a baby because, and well, I'll go on and I think I'll explain. So let's go ahead.
You should be legally required to keep that person in your home and share your resources with that person, as opposed to kicking them out whenever you please. When would you deem it? So like, basically, as soon as you invite that person into your home, do you think that you should be forced to let them stay there, knowing that when they kick them out, they will die? But do you think that you should legally be forced to
She's talking
keep
about
that person,
evictionism,
that human being, in your home? Because once you kick them out, like, they will die, even though you have to share your resources with them. Do you think that should be legally required?
Okay, so I'd say that that's disanalogous to abortion. I'm going to tell you why for two reasons. One, again,
right here again, another disanalogous analogy. Victoria cannot analogize. She does not know what an analogy is. She does not know what it takes to be analogous. She cannot analogize. Clearly.
you didn't just invite them in, you forced them in. That there's a
Ding, 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 Tyler.
Right? It's not like, oh, just come on in. It's like you forced them in through the act of pregnancy. Now, whether you meant for that to happen or not is irrelevant. You still forced that life into being. You force them into your womb, and then you force them into a state of dependency on you. So not only did you force them there, but then you force them into a state of dependency. So in your analogy, to make it more analogous, you would have to say that instead of inviting, well, one, you force them in, and then second, it's a baby, right? Or at least to make it the most analogous as possible, you wouldn't like say it's just a general person is like an adult or a teenager. It's an actual baby, which is important. It's an important distinction because like if somebody is trespassing on your property, you can hold adolescents, you can hold teenagers, you can hold adults morally and legally accountable for those things. But when it comes to a baby or a pre-baby, you cannot hold them. They're not able to be held morally or legally accountable for any of their actions. So it's right. It's completely disanalogous.
So does everybody understand that? I feel like I broke that down very simply. It was not super complicated. Right? You can't make these, you can't make this analogy, Victoria, because you're just a person with, right? So, okay, if a person wanders into your home or whatever, you know, can you then throw them out? First of all, she's talking about evictionism, right? You can see how she's not talking about kill, right? Because if she was being good faith, she would be talking about kill, because bodily autonomy is you can actually kill, not just evict, you can kill them. Right. So, yeah. If she was being good faith, then she would say, yep, someone that you forced into your home, or let's just say she said invited into your home, but then can you kill them? That's what it would be. That's what it would be. That's the property rights, right? You could kill them. Right. So, where I'm like, obviously you can't, and you can't just say that it's just a person. If you're going to make it analogous, you have to make it as closely related to what we are talking about as possible, right? If you talk about an adult or an adolescent trespassing, let's just say we're talking about trespassing. Okay. If you are talking about an adult or an adolescent, you can hold them, we as society, or you as an individual, can hold them both morally and legally accountable for their actions. We can, right? But a baby, we can never hold them accountable. Ever, 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 ever hold them morally or legally accountable for an action that they commit voluntarily or involuntarily, right? Even more specifically, if we force them into that home in the first place. Right. But I feel like, I don't know if it's just completely going over Victoria's head. It's really not a complicated stance that I have. It's very simplistic. I don't understand why it's that complicated to grasp. So either she is not able to understand a very simple argument, or she is being intentionally dishonest with her replies and trying to, you'll see her try to pivot and you'll see her try to dodge and so on and so forth. So let's continue.
Okay. And see, I think that this is our issue here. And this is why
I can make it now. I can make like a very, very clear analogy
just to be sure that.
Well, no, it's okay. I'm just wanting to explore your ideology, because in my personal opinion, I view it as a bit of a.
You see how I just said that I could make it more analogous? And Victoria's like, nah, that's okay.
Special pleading fallacy to only view the right to life as a.
Look at this. She's talking about terms that she has no idea what she's talking about. Let's go ahead.
Positive right for babies and children and not adults. Because as I understand, you do not view right to life as a positive right for adults and other human beings. Human beings.
I don't know what you're talking about as far as positive right or negative right. What I'm saying is that all
it's a common philosophy in the libertarian conversation.
That's fine. Well, I'm not a libertarian, but second, like what I'm saying is that every person has the equal right to life. That's it.
Right. Every human being has an equal right to life.
Yeah, every human person has the equal right to life. Yes.
Right. And under your circumstance, this would be a positive right to life, where it might require something of someone else.
You could call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter what you call it. What I'm saying is that as long as it doesn't change my argument.
Here's another weird analogy.
She keeps trying to bring this up, and I feel like she's trying to do this to try and make it look like I don't know what this is, which I still don't really understand. I totally admit that. Like, I've never been embarrassed to admit if I don't understand what someone is saying, and I'll ask for clarification. You know, I don't claim to be the smartest person, right? But I will, if you can, you know, break this down for me of what it is, and we can go ahead and talk about it. But it's still. It doesn't matter in this debate. Like, if you keep saying that, oh, it's a positive or negative, like, I don't care. You can call it whatever you want to call it. This is my argument. I don't care what you categorize it as, but this is my argument. Human persons have the equal right to life. There it is. Right. And then I also talk about that, obviously, that you can't force someone into a state of dependency, then remove that dependency knowing that they would die. But that is my argument. I don't care. You keep talking about, positive and negative rights. I don't care about that. It doesn't matter. I don't know why you keep bringing that up. It doesn't matter to this. Just attack my argument, which she fails to do.
With me, I promise it'll make sense. But let's say I'm a sexually active female doing my thing, you know, and I am regularly taking the abortion.
Slut! Just kidding.
Pill. And so I'd never know if I'm pregnant, whatever. I'm just always taking it. So I might be giving myself abortions. Would you deem that unethical? And would you say that that should be illegal?
Say your question again. I'm sorry.
So basically, I'm sexually active. I'm taking the abortion pill all the time. I never know if I'm pregnant. I'm just taking the abortion pill. And if I have an abortion, I have an abortion. Whatever. I don't know if I'm having one, but I'm just doing it. Do you think that that should be illegal? And I promise this will make sense. Taking an abortion pill all the time. I don't know if I'm giving myself an abortion, but I could be. I very well could be. Do you think that that should be illegal for me to do?
I don't think that it matters if you. Well, for one, what does the abortion pill do?
The abortion pill just expels an embryo from your uterus and kills it, essentially. If you believe that life starts at conception, you should be against the abortion pill. Yeah.
I would be against that. I would say the abortion pill in general though. So for one, so when it comes to the abortion pill,
well, really quick, I'm so sorry.
I'm a little indifferent, but go ahead.
So I want to clarify on this. I kind of want to speak on this because some people were saying, I was told, I didn't get into her live, but I was told by other people that she was saying that I am for the abortion pill. I never said that in this entire debate. I said here that I'm indifferent, and here's why. So if you saw me in the beginning, I said that no, I'm against that, definitely. But I am indifferent on the abortion pill, but not as a whole. I'm indifferent on the abortion pill when it comes to things like rape, right? Because you guys know that my argument is now that evictionism is okay in cases of rape, which technically is a form of abortion. But I'm indifferent when it comes to the abortion pill here because in cases of rape specifically, because you know, the abortion pill I think can be used up to like the 10th week, if I'm not mistaken. After that, I think you have to have surgery. And I don't like that you are doing something that is definitely going to kill that fetus 1000%. So I think it's a slippery slope because now, here's why I'm indifferent. The argument is that, well, at 10th week, it's not viable anyway. So it doesn't matter like how we expel it. Even if you abort it or do something that will definitely kill it no matter what, it doesn't really matter because, it can't survive anyway. That's like the opposing argument. So, which I understand and I even acknowledge it, but I find it to be a slippery slope because, we were once at a time where, it was like 27 weeks was viability or then 25 or 24 weeks. And now it's like 20 or 21 weeks. You know what I mean? So it's just based off of medical technology that allows something to be viable or non-viable. Especially as we get into things like artificial womb technology and so on and so forth. Right. So I don't like that to where it's like, oh, well, it's not viable. Just like if they made an abortion pill that was up until like 18 weeks or 19 weeks, that you could just go ahead and do that or whatever, if they could do it. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly what size the fetus would be at that point, but I'm in this hypothetical scenario that this is what it does. Maybe it like breaks it down in your body completely and then it expels it in some way. Right. So, but anyway, if they were to do that, I'd be like, oh, no, because, you're talking about just like a week or two out from being viable. And maybe it could. Maybe we're at that point now where it could be viable based on whatever. So I think it's a slippery slope. That is why I am indifferent on the abortion pill in cases of rape, but not in general, right? I am against the abortion pill but I'm indifferent on it when we have cases of rape. That's what I mean when I say that I am indifferent.
Okay, yeah, no, I genuinely don't mean to interrupt you. The abortion pill isn't the most important part of this analogy. The point is that I could be giving myself an abortion and unaware. You would deem that morally unethical because I would be depriving that being of life, whether I knew it or not. And you should.
Well, you're intentionally doing it, right?
Right, because yeah. I know that I could be getting an abortion. Okay, yeah. Okay. So my question then is, why are you against a federal mask mandate when you know that you could possibly have coronavirus? I know this isn't going to make sense at first. I beg you to just stay with me. I'm asking you to not. It doesn't have anything
to do with abortion.
No, but it does, because again, I personally do believe that once someone is given personhood, the right to life is a positive right for me. If your life requires something of me, like wearing a mask, I'm okay with that because it's a positive right to life. You seem to believe that the right to life is a positive right as well, meaning if it requires something of another individual, that's okay, so long as that person who has been granted personhood can have their right to life. So my question is, knowing that the coronavirus is extremely deadly, knowing that you might have it and not know it, knowing that wearing a mask could save someone's life, you still don't think that the government should be able to step.
This is not a mask debate, but it will turn into one, and she refuses to stop talking about the mask. And James is kind of will frustrate me as time goes on because we're not even really talking about abortion anymore. We start talking about the mask, and I'm just like, dude, we need to bring this back to where I'm like, and I got no ill will against the moderator, James, but I'm like, bruh, do your job and like, let's go ahead and focus on this on abortion. But if you had this like quick question or whatever, and we kind of went into this to show like a logical whatever, but we will talk about this for like she'll want to talk about it for a little bit.
Step in and mandate a mask. Because in that instance, you are showing that you don't believe that life the right to life is a positive right, if that makes sense.
But I also don't believe that the government should get involved when it comes to seatbelts, even if somebody decides to get into your car, right? I don't believe that you should do that either. So I don't believe that the government should infringe on things like it's unnecessary, right?
Exactly.
So when it comes to mass mandates specifically, I'm completely for private businesses instituting. I'm completely for individuals that want to do it. I wear a mask when I go out there. I mean, mostly because they force me to do it. But still, yeah, I'm completely okay with them doing it. When it comes to the government not imposing it, I just feel like it's an unnecessary use of government force, right? So
even if
why would it be necessary? Because here's the thing. So hold on, I'm thinking this out loud as I'm saying it. So if you don't know that somebody has the coronavirus, right? You don't know that unless they get tested, right? Or unless the government uses even more tyrannical force and then forces people to get tested. So you don't know that I have it. And the biggest issue that I have is that it's not even so much the force itself. I mean, it is, but like what I'm more worried about is just that, or more, I don't know, like my issue with is that there's nothing stopping you from doing anything that you need to protect yourself. Like if there was some reason that like the mass population couldn't do something to protect themselves, and I would say, okay, then maybe it makes sense for the government to step in and say, okay, you need to do mass mandates. But there's not actually anything stopping you, Victoria. There's nothing stopping you from getting a $5 mask. There's nothing stopping you from wearing long sleeve shirts, wearing gloves, using hand sanitizer. There's nothing stopping you from doing those things. So because that practically speaking. So like if there's nothing practically speaking that would stop you from doing those things, then it's an unnecessary use of government force to make me do something but basically what you're saying, the whole point is that you don't want to inconvenience yourself more, so you need to inconvenience me.
Very easy. At that point, it should have just been dead. The whole issue should have been dead. That is my entire argument for mass mandates. It is an unnecessary use of government force, right? Again, if there was some reason why the mass population cannot use a mask or not get a mask or something, I don't know, however you want to get into that, then I'd be like, okay, maybe there should be some type of mandate for whatever reason. Okay. But the thing is that there is nothing, practically speaking, that stops a person from taking all the precautions that they need to protect themselves. I don't need to wear a mask because right? Or at least I shouldn't be forced to wear a mask by the government. I shouldn't be forced to wear a mask by the government because you, as a person, can wear a mask. You can wear long sleeve shirts. You can have hand sanitizer and constantly use it. You can wear gloves. You can wear eye protection. I think I've seen some for like $5 on Amazon, right? You can take every necessary precaution you need to protect yourself. I don't have to wear a mask because there's nothing and what I just said at the end, it's like really what you're saying is that you don't, because I don't want to do this or because I don't want to inconvenience myself, and I shouldn't have to, right? If you can take precautions, practical precautions to protect yourself, you just don't want to inconvenience yourself a little bit more, right? So it's like, that's really what you're arguing.
No, not necessarily. The issue here is that PPE is not 100% effective, and unfortunately,
again, I don't want to go too far off into this because this is a limited debate. This has nothing to do with abortion.
This is something that I want to emphasize to you, though, because there are essential workers out there who even with PPE, they are running the risk of getting the coronavirus and dying from it. And so I guess my issue was with your logical inconsistency in terms of positive rights.
Look at her. She will just say things. Victoria is queen of gaslighting. Victoria is queen. I will say that again for anyone that's in the back. Victoria is queen of gaslighting. Everyone who's on my TikTok, you need to come over to my YouTube so you can hear the debate breakdown. Link is on my bio, in my bio. Queen of gaslighting. She'll say things like this. Oh, well, she said earlier special pleading. There was no special pleading. You don't understand what that term means. Then she's talking about, oh, well, your logical inconsistency. There was no logical inconsistency. I just told you, and I broke it down for you as to why it's different, very clearly, and overcame it. But you don't understand it, so you say, well, it's a logical inconsistency. See, she just has these terms in her head, and she just rattles them off, and she'll continuously rattle them off because her audience is so fucking dumb. Like her core audience, I have no issue saying this. Like her core audience is so fucking dumb. And how you can know that they're so fucking dumb? Remember when the videos that she has since deleted when she tried to call me out for using the term disanalogous because she thought that it wasn't a word. If you haven't seen it, go to my TikTok profile. You'll see there's 2 videos on it going back and forth. She deleted her responses and even conceded in the last one, which she took down. She's like, okay, I'll give you that dub. I was wrong. But the amount, when she would post, the amount of people that were in her comments in her own video saying, oh, Tyler's so dumb, disanalogous isn't a word, blah, blah, blah. Look at this queen. I mean, you'll talk about hundreds, if not thousands, right? Saying that, like, just back her up. They're so dumb. And I proved that disanalogous is clearly a word. You motherfuckers couldn't do 30 seconds of research, right? So, just so dumb. So because of that, because they are so easily manipulated, right? Just so easily manipulated that she will just say a word like, or say a term like, oh, well, your logical inconsistency. And then people are like, oh, Tyler's being logically inconsistent. And Tyler isn't being logically inconsistent. Victoria is just saying it because she knows that you're stupid enough to believe that he is because you just lick her fucking boot heels, right? That's what it is. So, but let's go ahead and continue here.
Like, you believe that a woman should be able to give up her body.
Just saying that something's logically inconsistent doesn't make it so, Victoria.
Okay, well,
good job, Tyler.
That a woman should be able to give up her body and her resources in order to ensure that this fetus has life. But you're not even willing.
The fetus that she forced there, yes.
Oh, hold on, you're not even willing to put on a. I mean, maybe you personally are willing to put on a mask, but you don't think the government should be able to legally mandate masks for people who choose to go out, choose to be around other people. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Again, tell me what's stopping. Victoria, just answer my question very, very simply. What is stopping you from wearing a mask, wearing a long sleeve shirt, wearing gloves, or using hand sanitizer?
I already explained that. Nothing.
Okay,
Tyler, it's not 100% effective.
Then you're not. Then you're not pointing out. Then what I'm saying is, is that you aren't pointing out a logical inconsistency. You're just talking for the sake of talking.
All right, let's
I'm sorry,
it is what it is. I had to be blunt. Like,
I gotta replay her reaction. Her excuse me. I gotta replay that.
I mean, maybe you personally are willing to put on a mask, but you don't think the government should be able to legally mandate masks for people who choose to go out, choose to be around other people. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Tell me what's stopping you. Victoria, just answer my question very, very simply. What is stopping you from wearing a mask, wearing a long sleeve shirt, wearing gloves, or using hand sanitizer?
I already explained that. Nothing.
Okay.
Tyler, but it's not 100% effective.
Then you're not. Then you're not pointing out. Then what I'm saying is, that you aren't pointing out a logical inconsistency. You're just talking for the sake of talking.
All right, let's
slow
down.
Oh God! Excuse me. Oh man. Yeah, I don't give a shit about being, I care about being like nice. I care about just breaking down your argument. If the argument is wrong, I don't care about, even more specifically, like, I kind of just afford the same, a courtesy that people extend to me. So she's been completely, up until this point, she's been completely intellectually dishonest. She has used logical fallacies. She, at this point, I don't think she's used a lot. I think we point out special pleading later. But she has been disanalogous, and not even just in this debate. In previous videos and my interactions with her in general, I find her to be a very dishonest, intellectually dishonest person. And I just don't really respect her in any real debate regard or political regard. So I don't care about being nice to Victoria, right? So let's continue. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, it is what it is. I had to be blunt, like you're just talking.
No, it is a logical inconsistency.
Let's give Victoria about 2 minutes to respond, and then I promise we'll come right back to you, Tyler.
Okay.
All right.
If we can reel this back into abortion, it would be great. But
I appreciate that, James. My issue.
Well, it's like the third time that I've asked, can we reel this back into abortion? This is not a mask mandate debate. This is an abortion debate. James, come on, James, help me out.
Tyler,
oh, shout out to James though. James, after the debate, invited me to, because apparently modern day debates, you should check him out. Really cool. And I have no ill will against James. I think there are certain things I thought that he should have done better, but he actually yells at me. Well, not yells at me, but he does kind of like as we move on, I'll show you. But But yeah, no ill will. He invited me after the show to possibly fly out because they're going to do like in-person debates. And he's going to fly out certain people to have these debates. Super fucking cool. And he invited me to go. So I told him I'd love to, like, when the time comes. Whether, and all the people in these comments hate me. They hate me in these comments, which I don't give a shit about. I don't care about being hated. I care about just spreading the fucking truth, right? You can hate me all you want. You can not like my personality. You can say that I'm rude or whatever. You're not overcoming this argument. You know what I mean? I'm not saying no one could. I'm saying that you aren't. Just by saying you don't like me or just by saying this is this, you aren't actually overcoming my argument. I'm still dunking on you. It doesn't matter. I don't care about being nice. I don't care about every single comment saying that I lost because really they just don't like me personally or they just don't understand what I'm saying. I don't care, right? Victoria and I gave this guy, I think this is like the most watched video that he's had. I haven't gone back into all of his videos, but it's got like 25 or 26,000 views already. And most of his videos on there from like months ago and whatever have like 7,000 views, maybe 10,000. So we've given him like the best show. So yeah, so I'd still, whether they like me or hate me, I'm pumping up them views, James. So yeah, you go ahead and fly me out, bro. Let's continue.
Trying to emphasize, and I promise I'm not trying to take too much time away from the abortion debate because it's important to talk about, but you and most small government people who do believe in abortion restrictions tend to not advocate for the positive right to life, right? National health care, for example. And again, I don't want to bring up a million topics here all at once.
Now health care.
But just, it seems.
James, help me out. She was talking about mass mandates. Now she wants to go into health care. Right? Come on.
That for the most part, you guys are okay with people dying so long as it doesn't
Okay,
require
so for one, can you not generalize?
Tyler,
can you not generalize
it is about
conservatives?
2 minutes still. So
I apologize.
We'll come right back to you, Tyler,
no,
once the
that's
2
a fair
minutes
point.
You're not debating all conservatives. You're debating
Tyler, we do have, like I said, we're going to give it about 2 minutes interval, and then we'll come back to you.
My apologies.
I apologize. I shouldn't have generalized all conservatives. I guess my issue here with when you're against the government making a mask mandate, but then you're also in support of the government putting restrictions on women's bodies, that is a logical inconsistency because you believe that the right to life is a positive right so long as it is the woman making the sacrifice for that life as opposed to you.
And this is, again, such a bad faith. So she'll say, oh, well, you're putting restrictions on a woman's body. It's so bad faith because she knows what my argument is because I've said it multiple times, right? You cannot force someone to be in a state of dependency on you and then remove that dependency, right? You force them into being. You force them there. But she loves to be disingenuous. She loves it.
Just wearing a mask. And I think a lot of pro-lifers do tend to agree with that as well. Maybe that's generalizing again, but I do see a lot of pro-life discourse talking about how it is important to wear masks. Just because PPE is not entirely effective, like if you're wearing a mask, it's not blocking coronavirus. It's just preventing your spit droplets from getting out, if that makes sense. And I could go on a whole speech about that, but I'm not going to. I'll just go ahead and end it there.
Okay, 2 or 3 minutes from Tyler. Go ahead.
Okay, so again, it's not a logical inconsistency. You just keep saying that over and over to try and gaslight the people in the comments into believing that it is a logical inconsistency. Doesn't make it so. When I asked you what is stopping someone, this is my rationale for it, right? And I actually told you that it's like, okay, well, if there was something practically speaking that was stopping the masses from, obtaining masks or doing whatever to protect other citizens, and I'd say, okay, then we could visit that, right? I'd have to really see what it was, but we could visit that. But when I asked you, okay, what is stopping you if it's me and you, what is stopping you as a person from protecting yourself? Can you get a mask? Can you wear a long sleeve shirt? Can you wear gloves? Can you hand sanitize? Can you constantly do those things that you need to do to protect yourself? And when you said, well, no, there's nothing stopping me from doing it, that's it. You just there's no reason for me to have to wear a mask or for government to force me to wear a mask if there is nothing practically speaking from preventing you of doing what you need to do to protect yourself. That's the point that I made. So it's not logically inconsistent, especially when you try to you're being disingenuous also. It's like, oh, well, controlling women's bodies, when you know that that's not my argument. Like, my argument is what it is, and we can get into it. is that that woman forced that person into a state of dependency. That is my argument, which you have not attacked at all during this debate. You've just been trying to go into other things like healthcare and like these things to try and, or just bring up your analogies that I've already proven multiple times are disanalogous. You don't know how to accurately even analogize anything. So I'm going to give you a proper analogy since you want to stick on bodily autonomy, and then I really want to get into personhood because it is what it is.
Wait, really quick, you just said a lot of things.
Hey, I still got my 3 minutes. That's what they say. That's what the rules are.
It's about 47 seconds left.
Okay, cool. So let me give you this thought experiment. So let's say that there are human cells in a jar. Now, you don't have to interact with these cells, but you want to, right? And you know that if you do, there is a chance that they will physically attach to you and create a new person that will be completely dependent on you for survival. Now, you decide, anyway, go ahead. You're going to wear gloves. You're going to protect yourself, whatever you're going to do, but you decide to play with these cells anyway. Lo and behold, these cells, they attach to you and they create that new person that is completely dependent on you. Did you or did you not force that person or force that being into a state of dependency? Yes or no?
Sure.
Okay, so now you are saying that that is still, it would not be immoral to end that being's life, even though you forced them to be there in the first place.
If it's just an unconscious blob on me, like I don't understand.
So this right here.
Well, hold on. You okay, so you're going.
So this right here, again, this is how she is such a bad faith arguer and how she cannot combine these two arguments. She is trying to use bodily autonomy on top of, well, it has to be sentient and we should have, abortion should be illegal after the first trimester, right? She said that. An abortion should be illegal after the first trimester. The second and third should be illegal because at that point they have sentience, right? But she started off the whole debate with, but I want to talk about bodily autonomy. Okay, so if we're talking about bodily autonomy, then right here, you can't just say, once I debunk your whole shit, once I say, okay, so right here, you did force that person into being. Well, yes, but it's not a person. So, okay, well then we have to go into personhood, Victoria. What's the matter with you? Come on. I'm not mad, by the way. I just get super passionate about this. And you guys know that I'm a loud person. But yeah, man. So that's what I'm saying, man. And it's just like, that's why she is so incredibly bad faith and just doesn't know her own argument. Let's go ahead.
Flip-flopping, you're going back and forth, right? So in the beginning, you're like, oh, well, I want to grant you some leeway here so that we can talk about, I'm going to argue it as if it is a person, but then when I actually give you an analogy that's really going to challenge you, then you just revert back to, well, it's not a person anyway.
No.
And I predicted that in the beginning. I was like, Victoria, you're just going to say that it's not, you're just going to say that it's not a person.
Tyler.
That's why we have to,
We're jumping
that's why we have to.
Tyler, so what we want to do is, just because we had roughly those 2 or 3 minute intervals, and then we kind of went back into open conversation, and I want to give Victoria a chance to respond to your last 3 minute section, and also the points that you've brought up since then.
Right. So the issue here and what we're talking about now is that we're shifting to, I think it was your second point, dependency. I'm still kind of talking about just like the right to life, and that is that a positive right versus a negative right. So that is where I'm kind of comfortable discussing the bodily autonomy argument. But if we're gonna if we're gonna merge into other aspects of,
that's not what bodily autonomy is, Victoria. That's not what bodily autonomy is. I don't care what you are comfortable with talking about when it comes to bodily autonomy. If you don't know what the bodily autonomy argument is, then don't argue it. That's my, can y'all feel me on that, or do y'all not feel me on that? Like, am I crazy for thinking that? Like, that if you're gonna argue something, that you need to argue it to its entirety. You can't just, well, you know what, I'm just going to argue this little part of my argument. Well, here, bodily autonomy, but I'm only comfortable talking about this little part. No, like, if you don't know what bodily autonomy is, right, in its entirety, then do not argue it. Why are you trying to argue it? I don't get it. I don't get it. Whatever.
your argument, then I would like to talk about consciousness, because that is my main argument. Additionally, back in regards to the conversation about PPE and wearing masks, I don't think that you understand how effectual. Why this attitude? I genuinely want our audiences to get something out of this. Anyways, I don't think that you fully understand how PPE works. If you wear a mask, you're protecting others. It doesn't protect yourself.
Why the attitude,
So
Tyler?
anyways, so someone can be fully decked out in PPE and still not be completely safe. So in the same way
She
that
gets
you
so triggered.
view, and having an abortion as forcing someone into your body and then killing them, I would argue that you leaving your house knowing that you may or may not have coronavirus, knowing that you may or may not be able to give it to someone who is wearing PPE, you could knowingly kill them, and you don't believe that the government should prevent that from happening. So I do view that as a logical inconsistency, because as you said, it also doesn't matter if you don't know for sure if you are killing or are not killing that person. You could be killing.
It doesn't really matter if Victoria views it as a logical inconsistency, because it's not. She views it as a logical inconsistency because she doesn't know what a logical inconsistency is. Not to mention that she clearly doesn't comprehend this very simple argument that is being given to her. Either she doesn't comprehend the very simple fact that her objection was debunked, or she does understand that, but she refuses to concede because she just doesn't want to look like she's conceding.
Killing that person. And
which I am going to bank on the last part, the latter, because you will see that as we go forward. Because once we get into consciousness and sentience, that's when definitively, if you didn't think that I was trashing her already, that's when definitively she lost.
Just like you thought that it was wrong in the abortion analogy, you should also think that it's wrong in the mask wearing analogy. And that is why I viewed it as a logical inconsistency.
All right, Tyler, we'll give you 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't, like, we're getting real circular here because I just keep responding to this over and over. So like I said, when it comes to, and this is the last time I'm going to talk about this mask thing, because again, like, I feel like what you're doing is trying to dodge the inevitable of like strictly abortion, and you're trying to go into all of these
not
other,
at all.
like, hold on, let me finish. You're trying to go into all of these other things that it doesn't even matter. So again, like I said, if you are, oh, I'm sorry, what was the last thing that you said? Just so I can remember. What was the last thing you said?
Basically, even if someone is decked out in PPE, they can still get coronavirus and die from you not wearing a mask.
Okay. Okay. So tell me what's the data on that?
So the data is that personal mask wearing actually does reduce. Hold on, let me see if my
more
computer will-
specifically, not just mask wearing. So specifically to what I said earlier. So if you had if you had everything that you needed as far as hand sanitizer, you were covered from head to toe in masks, and your eyes were covered, your ears, whatever was covered.
Right.
What are the chances of you getting COVID that way versus and if someone isn't wearing a mask versus if someone is wearing a mask and you're not decked out that way?
Well, as of right now, as I kind of explained, I can't remember if we were streaming during this. I'm having internet trouble, so I wouldn't be able to look up a specific study for you, but it doesn't matter what the percent chance is, because what we do know is that by not wearing a mask, you could be condemning to someone to death, even if you're not 100% certain that you are.
Still, there is nothing.
Like you said,
stopping
again,
from
in the analogy,
but there is nothing stopping you.
Even
There's nothing stopping you, right?
Right, just as there's nothing stopping me from using birth control and condoms. So long as I'm using birth control and condoms, should I be able to just
as long as you are using a type of
abortion? Should I be able
to using a type of contraception that is not directly influencing implantation or stopping anything after fertilization, then I am fine with that.
No, but here's the thing. I don't think
so there's about 2 minutes. So I do want to give Victoria 2 minutes uninterrupted, and then we'll go back to
To be fair, like we kind of were, that was kind of like open. It wasn't just like my side, right?
It was still within your 2 minutes.
Okay.
It's
if we could
one of the hold on 1 second is one of the challenges is I'm okay with you guys asking questions kind of like a cross-examination style. Totally okay with me. The only trick is that it is kind of getting there is some overlap in terms of who's talking at the same time, and so that's why
I will. Okay, can I say this? Can I say this, James? So I will absolutely try to refrain myself from interrupting Victoria if we can have more of like an open style.
I'm okay with that if
she agrees.
There's less interrupting.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go.
Now, what I would implore Victoria to do is to navigate this into her consciousness argument. Because we're now like 40 something minutes in, so I would implore her to navigate there.
All right, Tyler. I respect you. I respect this argument, but I would also appreciate it if you don't tell me how to argue, because I think I am coming upon a logical inconsistency of yours that you seem to be running from for some reason. The point is,
bro, this is why I'm saying she's projecting everything that she is talking about when she's like, ooh, special pleading, ooh, logical inconsistency. Ooh, you're running. That's projection, Victoria. Those are things that I'm doing. Just look at my face. Look at my face, bro. That's not something that I'm doing, Victoria. That is something that you are doing. Come on. My goodness, my goodness. Oh man. Look at my face. Oh man.
Equivalencies in this analogy would be wearing PPE is pretty equivalent to condoms and birth control, right? It could prevent, like, a person wearing like a mask, like, sure it could, or wearing gloves and hand sanitizer, sure it could prevent them from getting sick, but just like, you know, I might still get pregnant even if I'm on birth control and using condoms. If I were to then do something more intentional that could kill this other person inside me, which I would equate to refusing to wear a mask, even though you know that that could kill someone else, I would say that that's a logical inconsistency, that you don't think that the government should be able to step in and make you wear a mask.
You're comparing the intentional killing versus the possible killing?
I would
because
say
for
that
COVID,
if
just
know,
to be clear, just to be clear,
let me
for
answer
COVID,
your
right?
question. Let me answer your question. If
Well,
you know,
this is the
if
last
you
part of my
leave your
question.
house,
You asked
if
the
you-
question, Tyler, so let's give her a chance to actually answer it.
if you leave your house knowing that you could give someone else COVID and kill them, that is the exact same as me taking the abortion pill knowing that I could be pregnant and I could kill a fetus.
No.
Yes, it is. Because in both situations, the person doesn't really know for sure. Just as we talked about earlier, we can do the rollback.
It's not.
You don't think so? Again, you believe in positive rights if it's inside a woman, if it's requiring something of her, but you don't believe in positive rights if it's requiring something from you as a citizen. You don't believe that it is the person on the street just walking or whatever, the person who's high risk. You don't believe that their right to life is a positive right so long as it requires something of you and making you wear a mask. But you believe that a fetus's right to life is a positive right so long as it requires something of the person hosting that fetus. Does this make sense? This is why it's a logical inconsistency, because
No.
you seem to
So
only
let me-
believe in. Okay, I'll let you go.
So let me ask you this, just so I can kind of dead this whole issue. So let's just say that I even conceded, which I'm not, but let's just say that I even conceded on this point and said, okay, it's the same thing. What's your point? Like, are you then just going to say, okay, then we shouldn't do this also? Then a woman shouldn't take an abortion pill? Then what's the point?
No. My point is that if you genuinely do believe that a fetus is a person just like anyone else is a person, that you believe that the right to life is a positive right, then you should be pro-mask, because that would be saying, okay, I will take on the responsibility of preserving this other human being's life. But you don't care about that.
You might possibly preserve, right. You might possibly preserve someone else's right. But again,
it doesn't matter if you know.
Victoria, you constantly, like, you're interrupting me as well. So please let me finish. So what I'm saying is, again, like, we're now going on 50 minutes for this thing. We haven't even.
You notice straight up. Again, no hate on James. But this man only interjects if I'm interrupted. Like, if Victoria interrupts, it's just like, fuck it, it's fair game, man. My man just sitting back. Look at James, bro. Look at James just sitting back. Just chilling. I have to be the one to constantly tell Victoria not to interrupt me. But if I interrupt, hey, James is right there. Oh man, a little one-sided there, but it's okay. I ain't hating.
Gotten to the core argument here. So again, for someone to you would have to do something, and then that person would have to contract COVID, and then they may die from it. So some person may contract COVID from what you're doing, and then they may die from it, right? I mean, you're talking about something that's incredibly I think I forgot exactly what your phrase was, but you said it was severely lethal. When you're talking about people that are under the age of 65, it's like 0.5% chance of dying from COVID. So again, like, it's subjective to say what is a lot or not a lot or whatever. But again, like, my whole point is that there's nothing stopping you from doing anything that you need to protect yourself. You've already conceded that and said that, okay, there is nothing stopping you from protecting yourself. So that's why it's an unnecessary use of government force. You're trying to then compare that to an abortion pill where you are doing something intentionally that is going to kill another person, right? So, or it may kill another person. I mean, an abortion pill. What's the percentage
it will, like 90
of accuracy there? What is it? 98%? Like what is it?
Tyler, here we go. Totally equivalent. I am randomly taking the abortion pill. I don't know if I'm pregnant. I have an abortion. You are walking around.
I asked you a question.
Hold on.
I asked you a question. You didn't even answer my question.
Wait. Please let me speak.
Answer my question before you go into something, Victoria.
You're walking around without a mask on. You have COVID. You get someone else sick and they die from it. Are those equivalent?
Are you allergic to answering questions?
Tyler,
I asked you a question.
And I'm trying to explain my ideology behind my answer. And if
I don't
I'm
care
doing
about
that,
So you can see, like, right now, she's trying to now compare. See, this is how so bad faith she is. Like, I cannot say that enough. Like, this is how so bad faith she is, and then how she'll try and manipulate anything that she can. So originally she's talking about COVID and not wearing a mask, and you can possibly give somebody COVID, and then they might possibly die from it. And now she's saying, well, no, definitively, like, you have COVID and you definitely are giving them COVID. Like, if you are definitively, if you are, like, intentionally doing something to, like, so if you have, like, let's just say, like, AIDS, like, if you had AIDS and you knew you had AIDS and you engaged in sexual activity, didn't tell them that you had AIDS and you did it without, like, a condom and all this other stuff. And I would say, I mean, that's illegal. Like, we know that's illegal because, I mean, you knew that you had a deadly virus that was, or a deadly contagion, or it's contractable. You chose to do that anyway, especially without letting anybody know. So, like, if you knew that you had COVID and then you were, like, intentionally spreading it, or at least not doing anything to protect them, then it's like, okay, then that would be more that would be something that I could more so, like, agree with on that term. But what she's talking about when just mask mandates, it's like, well, you don't know if you have COVID, first of all, unless the government is enforcing this on you. But not only that, that's not only just the only point, because you might not know that you have AIDS, right? But there's nothing stopping another person from protecting themselves. And she refuses to give me the data because she doesn't have the data. That's why I asked her, I was like, look, okay, so give me this data, Victoria. Like, okay, if I don't wear a mask and you are wearing a mask, what are the chances that you will get COVID? Okay, I need to know that data. Then give me the other data where it's like, okay, so where if I don't wear a mask, you are wearing a mask and you are also have a long sleeve shirt, gloves, protective eyewear, maybe an upgraded mask. Maybe instead of $5 mask, you wear a $10 mask. You have hand sanitizer that you are constantly using. But I am not wearing a mask in this scenario. What is the data on that of chances that you will contract COVID, right? So, and if that's lower than just both of us just wearing a mask and you not doing all the other shit, then there's nothing that I don't need to do those things because there's nothing stopping you from doing it. So it's an unnecessary use of government force. I hate that this whole fucking debate went over into this shit for like 20 or 30 minutes and that it wasn't moderated to come back into strictly abortion because we needed to really get into that. So that was kind of frustrating. I'm like, come on, man. Like, can we talk about abortion or are we not talking about abortion here? Let's go.
Ideology right now. I care about you answering my question. That's what
She's
I care about.
so
Can you answer the question I asked you?
Yes, I just wish you were arguing in good faith, bro. Like, I genuinely want to understand your side. I don't know why you're being so antagonistic right now. Like,
I'm not being antagonistic. You are intentionally not answering my question.
Ask me the question again. What was it? I was trying to answer through another question. I apologize.
What was the question I asked, man? It was like 40 seconds ago because we went off the rails so much. I don't even remember the question now.
Yeah, I've been.
Because you refused to answer it.
It's hard for me to remember as well.
Okay, well,
it's hard for you to remember, James. So make sure that we're on topic here.
I'm sorry. I genuinely did not mean for that to be like rude or dismissive. I'm just trying to explain my ideology. Again, I don't see how it's different for me to be arbitrarily taking the abortion pill, have an abortion, and then for you to just be randomly not wearing your mask, give someone coronavirus, and then them die from it. That seems pretty equivalent. You're depriving both people of life because of what you might deem as a selfish action. in order to preserve my own rights to my own body and being able to do whatever I want to do without government
interference. What can a fetus
interference.
do? Let me ask you this. What can a fetus do to protect themselves from the abortion pill?
Well, again, it doesn't matter because someone who is completely protecting themselves from COVID can still get it. So I'm saying in the situation where their protective gear did not work, you not wearing your mask gave this person COVID.
Okay. So nothing is stopping. So a fetus can't do anything to protect themselves against an abortion pill?
No.
Okay, but a person can do something.
Actually, well, technically a fetus could. I mean, technically there are failed abortions with the abortion pill. I think it's like 5%, but obviously that's not intentional.
Can a fetus consciously do anything to protect themselves from abortion?
No, because the fetus is not conscious. Should we just segue into that?
Can a person?
Finally! Yes, we should segue into that, Victoria. But before I dunk on you real quick, right? Not before I get this last dunk in here, right? Because I'm like, look, Victoria, can a fetus do anything to consciously protect themselves against being killed from an abortion pill? Victoria's like, no. Okay, can a person do anything to consciously protect them, or can a person consciously do something to protect themselves against contracting COVID? Yes.
COVID?
Yes, but again, this is a situation where that did not work. That did not work. The person still got COVID despite doing all that.
I don't care. I'm just asking you, can they do that? Can they do something to protect themselves?
You never answered my question. Is that morally wrong for you to give someone else COVID? They're taking all the necessary precautions.
Again,
they can't do anything else.
Now you're saying, oh, well, you gave them COVID. And I'm telling you that you
Wait, no. I'm sorry. You must have misheard me. Misheard me. I literally 5-10 seconds ago, we can roll back the clip. This is the analogy I'm giving you now. I am randomly taking the abortion pill. I have an abortion. You are randomly walking around without a mask. You give someone COVID and they die. I am asking you how those two things are not equivalent.
How do you prove that you gave them COVID and they died from it?
Tyler, again, this is an analogy. They died because you were not wearing masks.
What I'm saying is that it's disanalogous. What I'm saying is it's disanalogous because when it comes to the abortion pill, we know who killed that life, right? We know that the mother did because she's intentionally taking something that would kill.
Not wearing a mask does increase COVID deaths. So should the government be able to interfere and mandate masks?
I can't speak like more than 3 seconds without you interrupting me.
All right, let's just move on, Tyler.
James ain't interjecting. Like, James, where you at, James?
That's the first time that I've agreed with.
James, where you at, boy? You quick when I be interrupting. Where you at, James? Come on, help a brother out, man. Come on, man. You pro-choice, James? Are you pro-choice? Is that why? Again, no ill will against James or modern day debates. I actually like their platform. I think that it's dope. I think James is probably a cool dude or fine dude or whatever, even though he yells at me later for interrupting too, by the way. But I got no ill will against, or I wish no ill will on James. No bad blood there. But I'm just like, come on, man. Come on.
So you want to go ahead and go into sentience and consciousness since that's your real argument?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what is your argument? So you're saying that a person isn't a person unless they're conscious?
Yes.
So we're not getting into until 43 minutes in. We're now talking about her core argument.
Hey.
43 minutes in. It took us 43 minutes into the debate. 43 minutes into the debate to actually talk about her core argument, which is consciousness, because she refused to talk about it until I debunked all her shit. Now 43 minutes in, now we can talk about it. When this debate part is really only an hour, I think. So now we only have like 17 minutes to talk about the core argument.
That's like a cute little throwback. That's like a cute little Easter egg from the first debate. Consciousness is basically the brain's awareness of itself in the universe. And the circuit elements necessary for consciousness are not apparent until the 23-week period. Meaning that obviously in the first trimester, a fetus is not conscious nor sentient.
Okay. So are you arguing? Okay, so you're basically talking about subjective experience. Okay. So all right. So are you arguing that to be recognized as a person, that you need to have the current capacity for consciousness or the prospective capacity for consciousness?
Well, so basically,
She clearly doesn't understand what I just asked her.
Right to life, a right in which the positive right to life, I guess I should say, the right that requires something from others, you must be conscious. In order to have the positive right to life, you must be sentient.
Okay, so can you just directly answer my question? So in order to be recognized as a person by your guidelines, do you need to have the current capacity for consciousness, or are you arguing for the prospective capacity?
I would say, well, define perspective capacity for me.
Perspective would be like of now or expected in the future.
I would say that you would have to currently have consciousness.
Okay, now listen to what she's saying. Listen, make sure that you put that right there into your mind, right? The forefront of your mind. Do not forget this. So I asked her, are you arguing for the current capacity to have sentience, meaning that you have to have it right now? It needs to be currently active, right? The current capacity for sentience, or the prospective, not perspective, like PRO, the prospective capacity for consciousness, which means of now or in the future, right? Meaning that you can that you will have it in the future, right? And so when she asked me what perspective is, I broke that down for her, and she says, well, no, then it has to be now, current capacity for sentience. So make sure that you guys remember that she said that. Now let's move forward.
Okay, so you're arguing for the current capacity of consciousness.
Yes.
Okay, so someone like under general anesthesia doesn't have consciousness.
Right. And so here's the thing.
So by your guidelines, we would be able to, they're not a person, and we could, kill them? I'm asking. I'm not trying to straw man.
No, I understand. And I'm actually really glad that you brought this up, because this is something that I don't think I argued well enough in our first debate. Here's the thing, is that this is why it does become a bit of a false equivalency, I guess I should say, not on your behalf. I know it's obviously, I don't think you are making a falsely analogous argument at all. I think it's a fair question. But in the case of general anesthesia, that in order to keep that person alive, it is not really requiring something from someone else. So I think in our previous debate, you mentioned a comatose patient, right? Okay, someone who's in a coma is not conscious. Do we have the right to then kill that person? And a normal, nice human being would be like, well, no, that would be pretty fucking rude. And so
it would be rude to kill a person.
Would you be okay with me addressing the coma analogy, or would you like me to try?
No, I'm not arguing. Well, I mean, technically, this is a medically induced coma, but I'm specifically talking about general anesthesia,
right? Medically
where there
induced
is no sentience and there is no consciousness.
Right.
So my point that I was making is that if you admitted that you were arguing for the current capacity of consciousness, not the natural capacity or not the prospective capacity. So by your guidelines, so basically, I'm saying that you're saying that you need to have characteristic X to be considered a person, and then
right.
And then if we remove characteristic X, then by your guidelines, they are not a person.
I would say that no one should be required to give up their body or resources in order to keep that person alive.
So now she's trying to conflate it with bodily autonomy.
My argument is still important here, even though I'm not subscribing to the bodily autonomy argument. If you do not have consciousness, your right to life is not necessarily a positive right. So when we're talking about putting someone under general anesthesia, let's say we put them under general anesthesia for 9 months. They're in a medically induced coma for 9 months, or they have an accident, they're in a coma for 9 months. After I think about the 2-week period of having a coma, they do declare it a vegetative state, because they understand that at that point there's absolutely no consciousness. The person has the inability to feel pain. The person is
notice how she's not answering my question.
Not even be aware of their death, and they classify it as a vegetative state because they understand that at that point the family can choose to pull the plug, because no one should be legally required to give up their own resources to keep someone alive who is not conscious, who is not aware of themselves or.
Can you just attack my? I'm not talking about a vegetative state or coma. I'm specifically referring to.
It could be general anesthesia as well. I was just using that real world example.
So under general anesthesia,
if you're under it for 9 months.
By your guidelines, they are not a person if they do not have consciousness, correct?
If you would be under generalized anesthesia for 9 months, I do not think that anyone else should have to sacrifice their resources.
The time doesn't matter.
So listen. Now she's talking now. So remember earlier she said, no, I'm arguing for the current capacity of consciousness, meaning that you have to have it now. But now, after clearly, I mean, it's a very easy debunk. It's like, okay, well, someone under general anesthesia has no consciousness. Right. So that now, after seeing that she'd have to concede, she's like, oh, well, you know what? 9 months. So now, because she's using time, she is now conflating the current capacity of sentience with the prospective capacity of sentience, right, or consciousness, right? So she's trying to conflate it. So now she's committing a special pleading fallacy, or at least she's about to. If she's going to apply it to one, like you can't use both. Is what I'm saying. So like she's trying to use one for a fetus and use different guidelines for a person under general anesthesia, or a sentient being. She's using different guidelines for a sentient versus a non-sentient being. This is a special pleading fallacy. So, and I'm going to point this out here. This is where she if you don't think that she lost up until now, this is where she definitively lost.
The time doesn't matter.
No, it does. It does. In order to make
so
it
now you're saying
equivalent.
okay. So what you're saying? Okay, so this is what you're
hold
saying.
on,
Hold on. Let me say, because Victoria, you talk for like 2 minutes at a time, and then you only let me talk for like 5 seconds. So basically,
where you at,
what
James?
you're saying is that now you're about to commit a special pleading fallacy without you even knowing it. So you said that you're arguing for the current capacity of consciousness, and then I said, okay, so then by that guideline, if you're not arguing the prospective capacity for consciousness, then if we take away consciousness, which is taken away under general anesthesia, that would not be a person. So even when you try to relate it and bring in, oh, well, my bodily autonomy argument doesn't matter because that's not a person anymore, so it doesn't apply to them. So are you arguing, because now you're saying time matters. So if you're saying time matters, now what you're conflating current capacity for consciousness with the prospective capacity for consciousness, which you couldn't do. You would be committing a special pleading fallacy.
Well,
so are you
I
arguing
apologize.
current or prospective?
I apologize if I answered your question incorrectly. I don't think I fully understood what you were asking. But my point is, and I will repeat this, even though I
just asked you a question. I just asked, can you please answer my question?
I said, Tyler, hey, I've never raised my voice in a debate with you. I will argue how I want to argue. I need you to not interrupt me, and I need you to let me.
Karen comes out to play. We were waiting for that, Karen. Were y'all waiting? 49 minutes in, Karen came out. 49 minutes in, Karen came out. Well, maybe there were subtleties of Karen before, but 49 minutes and 30 seconds in, Karen comes out to play. Oh, man. And when I'm debunking her and showing her that she's contradicting herself and she's like, I'm going to argue however I want to argue. My goodness, Karen came out to play.
Asking you a question, Victoria. Why are you getting?
All right,
I
so
answered.
listen.
I think
Okay,
I
Tyler, you do have the
misunderstood.
letter finished, so it's totally cool. It's common on the channel if someone
Oh, this is where James yells at me. This is where James yells at me. Listen up.
asks a question and the other person doesn't answer it, then they just let them finish, and then they bring up, hey, I noticed you answered somebody's question, but it wasn't mine. Something like that is totally okay.
Hey,
listen,
point,
Tyler,
fair
I'm
point,
talking
James,
right
fair
now,
point.
which means I need you to be great. So the idea here is it's totally cool to bring it up, but you do have to actually let them answer it, and then you can come back with saying, hey,
Sure.
I noticed you clearly didn't answer my question. That's totally cool.
Sure.
So I apologize, Tyler. I think I maybe misunderstood your question, but my point at the end of the day is that I do not think the right to life is a positive right if someone is unconscious. I don't think, and I wouldn't say that bringing up time in this situation is a special pleading fallacy, because in order to make, just like I would never accuse you, remember when we were talking about my analogy earlier and you said that's falsely analogous, it wouldn't be inviting someone into your home, it'd be forcing someone into your home. I'm basically making the same qualifications to your argument. Your argument is not entirely equivalent, because we're not telling women, oh, hey.
My argument isn't even, it has nothing to do with even with equivalence. We are talking about, well, it is. It definitely is. It is perfectly equivalent if we're talking about you're doing something. If we're talking about special pleading fallacies, but this is what she said, and I'm going to break it down. Actually, I don't even need to, because I'm going to break it down in this video. My bad. I'm talking when I'm actually going to explain it in the video.
You only have to be pregnant for a few hours and then you can give birth. We're telling women, hey, you have to provide this baby with resources and with your body for 9 months. So I think that in this case, time is incredibly relevant. And I think any woman would laugh at the idea that time in this situation would be a special pleading fallacy. So I don't think that women should be required to give up their bodies, or I should say people. Sorry, I know that everyone can get pregnant. I don't think that people should be required to give up their bodies and resources.
Right, because it's not only women that can get pregnant in 2021, guys. Men can actually get pregnant. If you didn't know that, Victoria made sure that she went and she acknowledged that not only can women get pregnant, but men can get pregnant as well. 2021, interesting time to be alive.
For 9 months, for a being that is not yet conscious. So yeah,
am I good?
that's my argument. Yeah, you can go.
Okay, so are you arguing for the current capacity or the prospective capacity?
Why don't you go ahead and define both those terms for me so I can make sure I'm
So
answering
current capacity means that it happens in the moment. It has to be current. It has to be currently happening. Prospective capacity would be of now or in the future.
I would say,
and if you conflate those two things, you would be committing a special pleading fallacy.
Okay. Well, again, I would just reiterate my previous point. So I guess I would be answering the second one, perspective capacity.
That wasn't her previous point was that it was current capacity. So now she is switching her argument to perspective because she got fucking debunked. So now she has to either concede or she's like, oh, well, you know what? It's going to be perspective capacity, right? This is why this whole sentience thing is so easily debunked, which you're going to see me do now here. Because you have to either be arguing for current capacity to have sentience or the prospective capacity to have sentience, right? Or consciousness or whatever she's saying. So here it's just going to be, so I already debunked the first part when she was talking about current capacity. So now, seeing that she fucked up, and now she's going to perspective capacity, we're going to now debunk that shit, and you are going to see her special plead so hard. You are going to see her commit such a logical fallacy. This is where it definitively lost. She should have just conceded once we get here, but she didn't.
Okay, so originally you said current capacity, so now you're saying perspective capacity?
Well, I still don't fully understand the question that you're asking. If I'm being
okay, so
dense
this is why I'm saying that you're committing a special pleading fallacy. So you argued originally that I asked you, okay, consciousness is what makes a person a person. So if consciousness is what makes a person, not my argument, your argument. So if consciousness is what makes a person a person, I asked you if you were arguing consciousness in the current capacity or the perspective capacity. And the perspective meaning of now or in the future. Current meaning that it has to happen now. You said the current capacity. So I'm like, okay, so if you take away that characteristic, if you take away consciousness, like you are under general anesthesia, then by your own guidelines, you would not be considered a person. Then you committed a special pleading fallacy by saying, well, no, time matters. And if you're talking about time, then time is you're talking about perspective capacity. So if you're saying time matters, then and still trying to argue the natural or the current capacity, that's a special pleading fallacy. Now, if you're going to concede or change your argument and say that, okay, well, you know what? It's not current capacity. I believe in perspective capacity now, then that's fine. If that's what it is, then I want to address that. Are you now arguing perspective capacity?
Well, I want to make it clear, I'm not changing or conceding in any way. I remember earlier when
Yes,
you asked me this question, I answered your question with my stance. You got mad at me for not answering your question. And I think the biggest reason I didn't want to answer your question is because I don't fully understand what you mean when you're saying perspective capacity. That gives me more insight, though. Thank you. So I would say that clearly from the beginning, I've been arguing about perspective capacity.
Did I or did I not explain what perspective capacity was twice? Twice. I was actually going to do this, but I was like, twice. Did I not explain that twice? Right? Did she not even ask me in the beginning what perspective capacity was? And I said of now or in the future. Now, if you don't understand what I mean by of now or in the future, you could ask me. But I explained it. Of now or in the future. And then I explained it again. And then she's saying, well, I don't really understand. Okay, well, if you don't understand, then you could ask me then. But, I mean, you asked me and I did answer you. So, okay.
capacity, just because, again, I do not believe that someone should be required to give up their body or their resources for an unconscious being so that they can fulfill their potential for life.
Okay. So you're arguing perspective capacity.
Yes, Mac. Victoria is still
So you
in
have to have it now or in the
college. Oh, my bad. Oh shit. Hold on, go back. There we go.
Okay, so you're
for an unconscious being. So I believe that someone should be required to give up their body or their resources for an unconscious being so that they can fulfill their potential for life.
Okay. So you're arguing perspective capacity.
Sure.
So you have to have it now or in the future.
Sure.
Okay, so a fetus in the future will have the capacity.
Right.
To have
See, this is why I didn't.
This is when you just got fucking shit on. This is when you got shit on, Victoria. Right here. Before, I was just debunking the claims. But at this point, this is when you got shit the fuck on. Right? You originally argue current capacity for sentience. We overcame that because if someone's under general anesthesia, they do not have the current capacity for consciousness. They do not have the current capacity for consciousness. Then she's like, oh, well, you know what? Okay, what I really mean is perspective capacity. So of now or in the future, and I made sure that I explained that clearly to her, right? Of now or in the future, is that what you are arguing, Victoria? She says, yes, of now or in the future. And you can see it in her facial expression. I'm going to rewind it too. You can see the wheels start turning in her mind. She's like, wait a minute. I feel like I see what's about to come and hit me, right? It's like, okay, well, if it's of now or in the future, then a fetus or a embryo or a zygote has the perspective capacity for sentience. So whether you are talking about current capacity or perspective capacity for sentience, you can't say current capacity unless you're saying that someone under general anesthesia cannot or is not a person. At that point, not a person. So they don't have rights because they're not a person, right? So do whatever you want with them, right? So, but of course you can't do that because that's fucking insane. So then she's like, well, perspective capacity. Clearly and easily debunked right here. This is where she was like, well, I know I didn't want to do that. Yeah, because you are committing a logical fallacy. You are being logically inconsistent. Just fucking concede, right? At that point, honestly, it's almost like, I don't know if you guys remember that debate that I had with that one kid where he was trying to talk about, he tried to analogize someone coming into their home and if you can kill them if they don't want to leave. And then I was like, okay, well, let's say it's a 1-year-old that's in your home that doesn't want to leave. Can you kill them? And he's like, yeah. So where instead he should just be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't the best. Okay, maybe my ideology needs to be is not what I thought that it was. This does seem to give me something, at least something to think about. Victoria's like, nah, it doesn't give me anything to think about. I'm doubling down or just saying, well, you know what? No, Tyler, you can't do this, blah, 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 blah. So let's go ahead and see why she gets mad because clearly she got debunked, but let's roll this back a couple of seconds.
This is why
to have it now or okay. So you're arguing perspective capacity.
Sure.
So you have to have it now or in the future.
Sure.
Okay, so a
right there.
In the future
Do you see that? Do you see that where she's like, well, hold on, go back.
Sure.
Okay, so
Ooh, look at the face. Look at the face. Go back again.
To have it now
for life.
Okay. So you're arguing perspective capacity.
Sure.
So you have to have it now or in the future.
Sure.
Okay, so
oh man, this right here is when she realizes. It took her a while, right? It took her a while to get to that point to where she actually understood what was going on, right? But now she's like, wait a minute. I feel like you're going to debunk this the second time. And now I'm not going to have any legs to stand on. So right here, if you can see this right here in Victoria's face, right? Can we zoom in here? This right here is when Victoria knew. Oh, hold on. Let me do the voice. This is when Victoria Hammett knew she fucked up. So this is when she knew that she fucked up. This is the point. If you didn't know before, this was the exact point that had happened. That's when that happened. Right there. So let's go ahead and continue.
So a fetus in the future will have the capacity.
Right.
To have
See,
consciousness.
this is why I didn't want to say that though, because again,
because you're logically inconsistent. You would have to
no,
concede.
it's not because I'm logically inconsistent. Again, you take someone in a coma, if that person is completely non-conscious, doesn't even have a minimal conscious state, if they're in a vegetative state, I think that it is the family's right to deny resources to that person, pull the plug, and which would obviously cause that person's death. I think that if someone is in a vegetative state for 9 months, the family should not be legally required to ensure that person's life by providing resources for that person. Even though they have the potential for waking up in 9 months, even though they have the potential for consciousness, I do not think that, I don't.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that, so now you're putting special parameters on your prospective capacity.
No.
So now you're saying that, so this is so just
at this point it's just like comedy to me.
So you originally say that it's the current capacity. Then you say, well, no, it has to do with time. So it's like, okay, so then you're arguing the prospective capacity. Then you're like, yes. Okay, so it's the prospective capacity either of now or in the future. And I stated that multiple times. And then you said, yes, of now or in the future to have consciousness. So I'm like, okay.
Well, see, this is why.
Hold on. Victoria,
sorry,
can I finish my thing? So then I say, and you say, yes, absolutely. Okay, so then I say a fetus.
Did you, how many times is it? I'm throwing a little bit of shade at James, but again, no bad blood, but just a little bit of shade. How many times is it now? We've got to be at like 7 or 8 times now that Victoria has interrupted me, maybe even a dozen times, that Victoria has interrupted me where James has not interjected to stop her from interrupting. It's only when I interrupt does James get involved. It's only at that point does James get involved. Just throwing that out there. Again, no, James, if you're watching this, I got no issues with you, man. I'm just saying maybe be a little fair on that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool. Hey, I'm cool with us just keep interrupting each other if we want to go ahead and do that. But if you are going to mod and if you are going to, go ahead and get in there and break up when we are interrupting, absolutely fine with that. And I agree. That's why we wanted to have a mod in the first place. But let's just make sure that we are consistently doing that with both parties. So go ahead and let's continue.
Has the prospective capacity to have consciousness, and then you say no. So you are committing a special pleading fallacy by far. Now you are saying, well, wait a minute. There's a certain amount of time. So if it's 9 months, then that's too much. So you're saying 9 months is too much. So if we knew that someone was going to awaken in 9 months, or they were going to come out of general anesthesia or whatever, you would say that, well, 9 months too long to plug on.
And you guys should see real quick, you guys should go to this video is up on Modern Day Debates. You should go there and watch it, because even after this, I'm not going to go into the part where we have Q&A, but there's like an additional hour or so of Q&A, and almost all of those Q&As are to me and I answer them. If you want to go to there, definitely watch it, the full video. Just search Modern Day Debates on YouTube. There's only one result that'll pop up, so go ahead and go there, and it's just like 2 or 3 debates ago. You'll see our a thumbnail of both of us, and it's the most watched video that they've ever had. So definitely go there and watch it. But you should go there and look at the comments. You could go there and watch the live comments, and even the comments that are left there after. And you should drop a comment if you support me or whatever, even if you don't support me, and you just want to go ahead and leave a comment on what you thought, because I know you guys are leaving comments here on this video, which is great. I definitely appreciate all the engagement on my YouTube as I grow it, but also there. But every comment, 99.9% of the comments there are just all hating on Tyler. And I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it. I don't care that they are doing it, because I'm like, look, you guys can't overcome the argument. You guys don't like what I'm saying, right? But you can't overcome the argument, right? I know you don't like me because I'm arrogant and because I oppose you, and that I may be quote unquote rude to Victoria, or not being the nicest to Victoria. I thought that I was fairly, not nice, but fairly cordial here, especially considering the past that I've had with Victoria. But I don't need to be nice, really. I'm just trying to debunk the argument, and I'm going to keep it moving. I don't give a shit if you like me personally. I could not care less. I care about debunking the argument and keeping it moving. That's me. You know what I mean? If you want like a Benjamin politics, or you want somebody else who's going to be like nice throughout the entire debate, then go ahead and debate somebody like Benjamin politics, or go ahead and watch him, right? No shade to Benjamin politics either, by the way. Cool dude. Dig him, right? So go ahead and do that. We have very different styles. I don't give a fuck about that shit. I care about just debunking the shit and keeping it fucking moving. I know that Victoria is not going to concede. I know that Victoria is completely bad faith and disingenuous, intellectually dishonest. So this whole being nice thing to her, I don't care about, because it's not going to change her mind anyway. I just want to show that that she has no idea what she is talking about when it comes to abortion. No idea. So, yeah, but you should go there and check the comments in the video. If you want to leave a comment, go ahead and leave a comment on the original one. Again, Modern Day Debates on YouTube.
On that person.
Yeah, well, I would just say that I don't think that the family should be forced to give up their resources to ensure that person's potential consciousness.
Who said anything about their family? Who said anything about their family?
Because again, I'm trying to make this analogy more equivalent. If it was possible to take an embryo out of a woman,
I have no family, Victoria. So I have no family.
Tyler, I'm begging you to try and understand my point. Like, genuinely, I want this to be a good faith debate. I'm begging
projection. You want to talk to me about understanding your point?
We could just take.
You haven't understood anything I've said.
Incubate them, and they would become full-blown babies without the woman. There wouldn't be a debate here. People would just do that, and it'd be great, and the woman could walk away, no harm, no foul. That's not the reality. So just like we can't act like, someone under general anesthesia or in a coma could just survive without the help of anyone for 9 months. Like, we can't pretend that would ever be a plausible situation. We need to make it more equivalent. So in this analogy, the coma analogy, in order to make it equivalent to a woman sacrificing her body and her resources, there would need to be someone there giving up resources to keep this person alive. And I do not think that anyone should be required to give up their resources to keep someone alive who is unconscious, who is not aware of themselves or their existence.
Can I respond?
Yes.
Okay, so you went into other things. So, you believe in universal healthcare, right?
I do.
Okay, so in your ideal world, you have universal healthcare. You fight for that. So if you had universal healthcare, that person's it's no one else's resources but their own. So the state or whoever or people would be contributing to that. So they would be in a coma for 9 months. But you're still saying pull the plug.
Well, I'm not talking about America with universal healthcare. I'm talking about you.
She is such a bad faith arguer. Do you see this shit? Even in her ideal world, where all taxpayers are contributing to universal healthcare, where there is no specific person who is it's not like your family or someone else who is responsible, or even you as an individual. It's all persons, right? All persons in universal healthcare. That is what she wants. That's what she advocates for. So even just throwing her own world that she wants, right, in universal healthcare, she can't even be good faith enough to even just say, at least in that world, that it makes sense. She still will say, well, you know what? I'm talking while I'm eating a pretzel. I didn't even really notice that I ate a pretzel while I was doing that. My bad. I actually haven't eaten yet today, but except these pretzels and these damn Oreos. I need to go actually downstairs and eat some food after this. But anyway, so she can't even be a good faith debater and say, okay, well, in this world, whatever. And then we could have I could have even migrated from there and brought it back to this scenario. But even just putting her in her own world that she wants to be in with universal healthcare, where taxpayers are funding it, where it's not only one person specifically that's responsible for someone's hospital bills, that she's like, well, you know what? I'm not talking about that, Tyler. I'm not talking about that world. She is such a bad faith debater. Such a bad faith debater.
America,
but this is your own world that you want to live in. So hold on. So wait.
No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to create a situation where someone being in a coma would be perfectly equivalent to a woman being pregnant. The issue here, Tyler, is that those situations aren't equivalent. Even in my analogy, no one's body is changing as a result of keeping this comatose patient alive. A woman isn't risking her life. A woman isn't risking postpartum depression, which is incredibly common. So these are always going to be false equivalencies. But to help you better understand my argument, an argument that I know you will never agree with.
I understand your argument. You're just not understanding mine.
Okay.
Or actually, I'm sorry. I take that back. you do understand my argument. You are just intentionally being disingenuous. So
No, I'm
you
genuinely
already
not
know.
trying
You
to
already
be.
know, Victoria. I've already proven that you're committing a special pleading fallacy. And
No,
then
you haven't,
now,
Tyler. You proved that I did not like the question that you gave me, because the question, like, it's just like whenever I was asking you about positive or negative rights.
Victoria, what's a
You know what
special
I
pleading
mean?
fallacy?
A special pleading fallacy is when you make special exceptions for no reason, without justification. I'm telling you, the time frame is justified because the time frame is so crucial to whether a
Okay, so
woman
what's the
chooses to
time
have an
frame?
abortion
Okay,
or
so
not. Don't interrupt me.
so what's
Don't
the time?
interrupt me.
Oh,
I'm saying
Kamala Karen came out to play. Victoria Hammett, more like Victoria Harris. Oh, Karen came out to play today. Don't interrupt me, Tyler. Oh, let's go back. Let me hear that again.
I'm telling you, the time frame is justified because the time frame is so crucial to whether a
Okay, so
woman
what's the
chooses to
time
have an
frame?
abortion
Okay,
or
so-
not.
so-
Don't
so-
interrupt me.
So what's
Don't
the time?
interrupt me.
Wagging her finger at
Frame
me
is so-
too. Wagging her finger at me too. When she interrupts me, I'm like, please, can you stop interrupting me? Whatever. None of this. Don't interrupt me, Victoria. Right? None of that aggressive shit. But it's cool if she
crucial
does
to
it.
whether- I'm telling you,
Yeah, female privilege. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where's my male privilege here?
the time frame is justified because the time frame is so crucial to whether a
Okay, so
woman
what's the
chooses to
time
have an
frame?
abortion
Okay,
or
so-
not.
so-
Don't
so-
interrupt me.
So what's
Don't
the time?
interrupt me. I'm saying time is not a special pleading fallacy because it is justified in this conversation. A woman isn't sacrificing her body only for a few hours. A woman sacrifices her body for 9 months. So talking about keeping someone alive in a coma for a few hours or whatever it would be wouldn't be equivalent. Time is relevant here. It's justified. It's not a special pleading fallacy.
Okay, so time matters.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the time? Because you said hours and then you were talking about 9 months. So what's the cutoff time?
Well, no, I'm just saying that I think if someone is in a coma and they are like in a perfectly equivalent situation, a person's in a coma, their family is giving up resources in order to keep them alive. They are unaware of themselves. They are unaware of the world around them. Even if you somehow magically have a guarantee that they will wake up in 9 months, I don't think that the family should be subjected to providing resources for that person to keep them alive.
Okay, so
here's an issue. Here's an issue with this, right? And I say it later. I don't think I say it right here, but I do say it later in the debate, I believe. The problem with this is, for one, she's talking about like brain death, right? Without actually saying brain death, that's what she's talking about when someone's unconscious. She's really talking about brain death and that you can pull the plug. Well, no. So that's only if someone is like brain dead, right? Or if they don't know that they are going to awaken, right? If you are uncertain that they are going to wake up, then in those cases, like sometimes you can pull the plug on your on those people. However, in this scenario, when we know that they are going to wake up, right? And it's not even 9 months, it's more like 5 or 6 months, because it's like 24 to 30 weeks when a fetus has sentience, but still. So we know that there is a specific time, a couple months out, that this person in this coma, analogizing it to a fetus, that this person in this coma is going to have consciousness. We know definitively, or at least best guess, that they are going to have, because, like fetus, like they might die in the way, but generally speaking, they're going to have sentience. They're going to have consciousness. They're going to reach that stage. So we know in this amount of time, they will have consciousness, right? We know that. At that point, that would not be considered brain dead, for one, because brain death would mean that it is, hold on, I think I can show you something here. Hold on. Where are my notes? Bringing up my motherfucking notes. Brain death, brain death, brain death. Bum, 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 bum. Brain, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Here, let me just search for it in my notes here. Brain death. Where's the brain death? Brain dead. Here we go. Brain death. I think this is it. Is this it? No, not this. Well, this one also does show it, but this one I think is easier. I'm looking for it. Where is the damn thing? Where is the brain death thing that I got, man? Where is the damn brain death, man? Here we go. 5 points. Brain death. It's in one of my articles that I'm looking at. Oh, right here. Okay. So right here, let me share. How do I share this part now? I want to share this other part. Hold on. Share this part. Sharing. All right. Well, anyway, I'm not going to share. So I'll just read it off. So per the NIH, National Institute of Health, they say that brain death is defined since 1981. By the way, brain death is defined by the irreversible cessation of circulatory and pulmonary functions, right? And there's two things. That's first thing. Second is the irreversible cessation. I hope I'm saying that word right. I've never seen that word before. The irreversible cessation of all functions of the whole brain, which means brain death. So it has to be irreversible to be labeled as being brain dead, right? So in this scenario, we know that they are going to have consciousness in a certain amount of months. So it is not irreversible, right? So by that standard, they wouldn't be ethically able to pull that plug. And also in Victoria's thing that she keeps trying to pound in there, right? Pause. Is that, well, the family was like, well, one, you don't know that they have a family. Two, even if the family is responsible financially for them, it wouldn't. It's like, okay, well, this motherfucker not have health insurance or something? Okay, but okay, it was like, whatever. Let's just say that they are so financially stuck with this bill. If they knew that this person was going to awaken again, these doctors, this hospital cannot pull the plug on these people. They will not allow him to continue using the hospital's resources. They're just, because the family couldn't pay up front, they would just, the people who are responsible for it would just be stuck with the bill, right? After, sure, you could argue that maybe they're stuck with a bill, maybe, right? That they're stuck with this bill. But it's not like, oh, well, you have to pay us right here, right now to, or we're just going to pull this plug, even knowing that they're going to have consciousness in a couple of months. That doesn't happen. Right. So Victoria just doesn't know what she's talking about again.
So you just again talked and you didn't answer my question. So two things that I want to bring up.
I fully did answer your question.
So two things I want to bring up. So for one, you keep talking about the family is responsible. I'm telling you that in this situation, if someone doesn't have family, they're not responsible. There is no family there.
Right.
So for one, in this scenario that I'm giving you, no family is responsible for them. So that's the first thing. Second thing.
Then it's falsely equivalent. I'm helping you make an equivalent analysis.
Just to be fair, just to hear the rest from Tyler.
Sorry.
James finally coming down. James, how far are we in? 1 hour and 34 seconds. I didn't even remember James at any point. 1 hour and 34 seconds. James has finally come out, helping me out with the interruptions. Thank you, James.
Okay, so I don't even remember the second point because again you interrupted. What was it? Oh, but you were talking about time. So I asked you specifically, what is the cutoff time? So you said that 9 months is too much. Okay, so what time is okay? Any amount of time?
I would say 12 weeks is.
Does she have like a fucking mirror?
I think it's okay.
Does she or like, or I guess she's just looking in the Zoom. Is she just like constantly doing her hair? I'm not hating on her for doing it, by the way.
12.
Like I'm not hating on her for doing her hair. You know, I'm just like, I just noticed that she's just doing it a lot.
Well, 12 weeks is the time frame that I think it's okay to get an abortion in, but obviously that's falsely.
I'm not talking about abortion.
So for the coma analogy?
Yes.
Well, this is where it becomes falsely equivalent because with, if I were to give, sorry, I'm trying to answer your question. I genuinely am, but I want to make sure that these are equivalent situations because they're not. We see in a fetus past the 12-week mark, the fetus gains more consciousness, but in a comatose patient, the more time passes, the less likely they are to regain consciousness. So I just want to make sure that,
that's a distinction with no difference. So
okay, legally right now for for comatose patients, you can pull the plug, and as soon as they enter a vegetative state, which is only a few weeks.
I don't care about what's currently legal. We're arguing not what is legal, what should be legal, right?
I just think you're
yo, come on, bro. It's like dunk after dunk after dunk after dunk, man. Like Victoria, you should just stop debating. Typically, I wouldn't stop someone from continuing to have these arguments, but when you are such a bad faith debater and you don't know anything, not only about your own argument, you can't understand someone else's argument, even when it's so simplistically put, when you constantly commit fallacies, and when you are just unwilling to concede, when you clearly are contradicting yourself, you should really get out of debate. You should stop.
I think you're getting a little bit too lost in this analogy, and you're not trying to understand my.
Victoria, this gaslighting that you constantly do is not going to help you here. So
I'm genuinely not trying to gaslight you.
I'm not the one lost in this conversation. So
No,
I'm asking you. So let me restate everything that I've said. So what I'm saying is that you said that consciousness is what makes a person, and you said that it needed to be current capacity. Then you said, okay, well, wait a minute, it's not.
We were all
capacity.
here.
Then you said it's not current capacity, it's perspective capacity. It's the perspective capacity. Hold on, can I finish? Can you stop interrupting me, please? So then you say that is the perspective capacity. Okay, so of now or in the future. Then you said yes. Then I said, okay, so a fetus has the perspective capacity to have consciousness. And then you said, well, no, wait a minute. Because if the person's in a coma or whatever, then I said, okay, so you said that time matters. And you said that 9 months is too long, which it's not 9 months until they have consciousness, right? It's like 24 weeks, but either way. So then you said, okay, so 9 months is too long. So really, when it comes to consciousness or sentience or whatever you want to call it, it's whatever 24 weeks is. How many is that? Like 5 months, 4 months, something like that? So 5 months maybe? So it's really 5 months. So you're saying that 5 months, if someone is in a coma or whatever, and you know that I specifically was talking about general anesthesia, but you talked about.
I'm kind of rambling a little bit here now. Like I'm so many things going through my head, but we'll get back to it.
Regain consciousness in 5 months. You are saying that no, you should be able to pull the plug on that person, even knowing that they would awaken and have consciousness in 5 months. If that is what your argument is, then I think that your morals are just very different than my morals. So I would gladly have you explain how that's moral.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I would say that because it's requiring resources of, again, in my analogy, I understand that this might not be how it always is, but in my analogy, I don't think that the people should be legally forced to give up their resources to keep that person alive for a few more months until they're conscious. I think that they should be given the right to pull the plug.
What people?
The family members. It doesn't matter.
Again, no family members here.
Tyler,
no
okay. I'm begging you.
We know.
I'm begging you to debate in good faith here. I'm begging you to debate
Victoria,
in good faith.
I'm not the one
family
who's not
is the
debating in
mother.
good
The
faith.
family is the mother. In this analogy, the family is like it is equivalent to the mother of the fetus. Or is this making sense to you? Just like the fetus is reliant on the mother for life or whatever, the person in the coma is relying on their family for resources.
They're relying
on
doctors.
I'm trying to make it equivalent. I'm trying to, just like how you said.
Already equivalent, Victoria.
Got about 5 minutes before we go into Q&A.
Okay.
You can stretch it maybe to 10 if you guys would both like, but roughly in that.
I want her to.
Tyler, just like, see, what you're doing right now is like earlier, if you had said, hey, that's falsely equivalent, it'd be more like if you force someone to your home. That'd be like if I was like, wait a minute, buddy, I would never force someone into my home. I would only invite them in. Like, you're intentionally missing the point of what I'm saying. I'm saying that in a situation where the family was providing resources, whether it be money, whatever, in order to keep one of their family members alive in a coma, even if they knew that that person was going to wake up in a few months, I do not think that they should be legally not given the right to pull the plug. They should be legally able to deprive that person of resources if that person is completely unconscious, if that person is completely unaware of themselves and the universe.
That's not the same for a couple of reasons. So for one, they didn't force that person to be in a coma.
She still has not answered when I asked her what is the time, because she's saying that if they are unconscious, even knowing that they will be conscious again in the future, she's like they should be able to pull that plug, and she would not answer what is the time. I tried to get a specific time. She said 9 months is too much, 5 months is too much. When is the time? What if they're going to be unconscious for a week? What about an hour? Right? They're going to be unconscious. Can you now pull the plug on them? Right? It just shows that her logic is not stable. She does not have a solid foundation for her own logic and her own argument. So what is the time, Victoria? And this is how you'll see how bad faith these people are, because they will refuse to give you a time if they bring this shit up. It's like, okay, well, what's the time frame? You're saying that, okay, 9 months is too long, 5 months is too long. Okay, what about a month? Is that too long? Is a week too long? Like, how much is too long? Right? What's the time frame? Right? Look at her face. Look at my face. Look at James. Yo, James. I thought that James was like frozen most of the debate, because that is his entire face this whole debate, bro. He's in like the same exact position. My man is like a mannequin. My man's doing the mannequin challenge.
That baby to be in a state of dependency. So they did not force that person who is in the coma to be in a state of dependency. So you're completely missing that. You haven't even attacked that. That was my core argument. You weren't even.
You brought up the general
Victoria,
anesthesia.
you literally talk for 2 to 3 minutes at a time, and you do not let me speak. So that's the first thing. So you did not attack that. That you're making it more disanalogous the more that you talk. So they are not. You did not force that person in the coma into a state of dependency. So anything that you're trying to make, like you're just making it more disanalogous, and you are really arguing in bad faith by not just saying, okay, and I asked you very specifically, what is the time frame? Is the time frame anything? That's what I'm asking you. So if we're talking about a person in a coma, which is really your analogy, but if we're talking about a person in a coma, what is the time frame? Since you said 9 months was too long and 5 months is too long, at what point should they be able to cut off that person's life?
I would say as soon as that person enters like the vegetative state where they are completely unconscious.
Okay, well, shit, I guess that's it. I don't think that I even capitalized on this in the debate, because had I really been focusing on that would have been easy. I mean, it's like, okay, so as soon as they are unconscious, by Victoria's logic, Victoria's stance is, and this is where I say, well, at this point, there's nothing more to say. It's like, okay, so your morals are just way different than mine, right? I would say that your morals are fucked, right? But, hey, morality is subjective, but definitely not my morals. So by Victoria's logic, as soon as someone it enters unconsciousness, right? And not just like sleep, I'm talking about like, that they're sentience or whatever, right? So as soon as someone is not sentient any longer, like under general anesthesia, or if someone gets into a fucking car crash and maybe they go into some type of coma, or the hospital has to put them into a medically induced coma, at that point, that motherfucker ain't a person. Cut off the life support. Cut off the motherfucking life support. Yo, stop it. They no longer a person, and because they're no longer a person, I'm robbing this motherfucker. Yo, give me them jewels, nigga. Yeah, I want the motherfucking Rolex. That motherfucker ain't belong to nobody no more. Fuck it. Yeah, I mean, he paid it off. Hey, good for me, motherfucker, because he ain't a person no more. That shit belongs to nobody. Give me the motherfucking keys. Right? So but yeah, by Victoria's logic, so Victoria's stance is now that as soon as someone enters a state of unconsciousness, you kill him. You pull the plug on that motherfucker.
Yes, I would say that at that point, the family can refuse resources to that person, which in a way would be killing it.
That has nothing to do. So you're not understanding the thought experiment.
No, I am. I'm totally understanding what you're saying.
You're not, just because of what you just said. So in this, remember, we know for certain.
I'm saying at any point, Tyler, that's your answer. I answered.
One sec, just to have order.
Okay, so
at any point they should be able to.
So I'm gonna end my TikTok live real quick because I think I did just say that. That's why I don't say the M word when I'm on TikTok live. I do say the M word a fair amount, but not on TikTok because they'll ban me. So I'm gonna end my TikTok live in case they hit that fucking ban button. So I'm gonna end it and then I'll come back into TikTok live later because I got like over 120 people on here. So pretty much everyone knows that I'm on YouTube right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it.
Even if we know in 5 months that they will regain consciousness, you're okay with saying you can kill them?
I would say that you can deprive them of your resources.
It's not their resources. What resources are you talking about?
It is.
Whose
I'm
resources?
saying
Taxpayer resources?
I'm trying to make it equivalent to a mother giving up her resources to a fetus. I'm trying to make it equivalent to a mother giving up her resources to a fetus.
This has nothing to do with people.
Tyler,
this is what I'm saying.
The issue here is that you're ignoring the whole point.
Okay, we have got both of you talking at the same time. We do have to have an orderly end, otherwise we're just going to jump into Q&A. So if you guys want to have maybe a few minutes to wrap up kind of with some drawing the threads of this debate together on each side, we can do that. But there's a lot of overlap right now. So
bro, at this point, legitimately, I am upset. Not at Victoria, not at James. I am just upset that the time is, well, semi at Victoria, but not for her argument. It's just, well, I'm upset that like we spent so much time on fucking mask wearing. There's like 30 minutes in there when we're talking about masks and COVID and shit like that, to where we could have been focused on the core argument, and that it was not brought back to abortion. I asked like 3 or 4 times, can we please bring this back to the abortion argument and get off of masks and COVID? So I'm upset about that. Because now at this point we're gonna like basically go into Q&A, and when we get to the Q&A I'm gonna stop. So there is an additional hour after this of Q&A that you guys can go on there and watch. It's on Modern Day Debates on YouTube, so make sure you type that in. First thing that comes up, you'll see our debate right there. Or you can even just do Tyler Bluntman versus Victoria, and that'll come up too on YouTube as well. But about right now I'm at an hour and 8 minutes, so I think we're about to have like a closing thing, and then they're going to go into the Q&A, and you should go and watch it because, well, most of them are questions for me anyway, but people trying to dunk on me, but I'm, it's my argument for abortion, I haven't seen any person that's been able to overcome it. Not a single person. I'm not saying it could never be overcome, but not a single person has done it thus far. So, but yeah, so let's go ahead and finish this.
What we can do is, if I recall right, we started with Victoria. So if that sounds good to you guys, which I highly recommend it just because there's so much overlap, is that we can give 2 minutes to Victoria, 3 minutes if you want, 4 minutes even if you want, and then the same amount of time for Tyler.
I would say Tyler's biggest issue in this debate is not recognizing the sacrifice of pregnancy. Whether you agree with it or not, by being pregnant, you are giving your resources to another being so that that being can eventually become conscious and have life. And so in my analogy, I am basically saying that if someone is completely unconscious, if they are unaware of themselves in the universe, if they have no brain activity, if they are completely unconscious, would be unaware of their death, I do not think that someone else should have to provide resources to that person in order to keep them alive. Like, I don't think a family member should be able to provide or should be legally required to keep that person alive. And whether you call that pulling the plug, whatever, that is my stance. I do not think that the right to life is a positive right until someone is conscious.
You got it. Thank you very much. And we'll give the same amount to Tyler for his wrap up. That was only about 45 seconds. But so if you're able to keep
I'd like my 2 or 3 minutes if you're able to give that to me, James.
If Victoria, if you're yielding the last minute or I should say a minute 45 or so, we can give Tyler the same amount of time, or I should say minute 15. Okay, so yeah, Tyler, if you want 2 minutes.
Okay, so just to be clear, Victoria, you argue in bad faith. You knew that you had.
I'm sorry. I forgot what I said in my closing statement. Yeah, my bad. So let's go ahead and rewind that. Oh, Tyler, you are a character, Tyler. You are a character. It's good.
if you
Not as
want
much
2
time
minutes.
as well.
Oh my goodness.
So just to be clear, Victoria, you argue in bad faith. You knew that you had you knew that you committed a logical fallacy, a special pleading fallacy. You knew that you were logically inconsistent, and because of that, you are instead of just this is the thing that I hate the most about when you specifically argue, is that it seems that, like, instead of just conceding the point, which is fine, you can concede a point. Like, instead of just conceding the point and saying, you know what, okay, that was logically inconsistent, you just want to double down and just talk about irrelevancies or try and make things more disanalogous, or to try and gaslight into being right. So here's what it is. You said that time is an issue when it comes to consciousness. So you said, okay, if someone, if we knew that someone would regain consciousness in 5 months, you said that, well, no, we should still be able to deprive them of life. We should really kill them. We should be able to kill them. It's like, okay, so even if we knew that, we should still be able to kill them. And then you keep talking about, oh, well, it's the family. And I told you it has nothing to do with the family. Victoria, if I got into, I don't really have family. So, like, if I got into a car crash or whatever, or to whatever kind of wreck, and then they had to put me, or I was in some kind of coma, and they knew that I would wake up in 5 months, you are still saying, well, no, you should be able to, it's taxpayer dollars or whatever you want to say that it is. Nope, you should be able to kill that person. That I find to be completely immoral. It's 1,000% immoral. Even when I said, okay, you believe in universal health care. You believe that people should pay that, and that people should be able to have a hospital or whatever on taxpayer dollar.
30 seconds.
Okay, but even still in that, you said, oh, well, I don't even want to answer
Have a good night,
that
Ethan.
because we don't live in that scenario. So you do not understand what arguing in good faith is. I think that it's very apparent that you care more about not admitting that you are wrong than you do actually having some type of discourse and understanding if you yourself are wrong. So yeah, I just find that to be a huge disappointment. But yeah, that's all I have to say, James.
All right, in time. So
So there we go. So it's a one. If anyone wants to go there after this, you have about an hour and 20 minutes of just Q&A. So this is basically people that are in the comments. And there were so many questions, like a lot, like more than they probably have ever got, because this was like the most watched debate I think that is on their YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. I think usually their debates have like 7,000 maybe to 10,000 views or whatever. And that's like in totality. This was just from yesterday, and it's already got over 25,000 views. So very popular debate on their page. So there were a shit ton of questions. So if you guys want to go there and watch me answer them. Victoria answered a couple of them. They had a couple of them for her, but most of them were for me. You can definitely go there. Just search Modern Day Debates on YouTube, and it'll come right up. But I'm going to stop that whole thing. So yeah, so that was it. That was the debate. I also ordered a new thing. I don't like this blue that I got. I ordered a black one, so the black one is going to be here in a couple of days. So, talking about my background here. But anyway, so that was it. That was the debate, man. So what did you think? What did you think? Personally, I thought it was a fucking train wreck due to straying away from abortion. The first 30 minutes was gone due to talking about fucking COVID. You know what I mean? Couldn't get that shit back. But what do you think? Do you think that I won? Do you think that I took an L here? Like, what do you think? Drop a line in the comments. Christian actually thought it was epic, so that's pretty cool. The Q&A was funny because people were calling out Vicky for not being a true Christian. Yeah, they were. There were definitely some Christians in there that were not fucking with that. Okay, so let's go here. Okay. Victoria's a train wreck. You won. Win. Clip the part about the abortion pill. What about it? I told her that I was, that I didn't support it and that I was indifferent, but I'm indifferent because just in the cases of like rape and stuff like that. But we didn't actually get into that part, so I didn't actually say it. But I just said, look, I'm not for it because of this. And then I said that I was indifferent when we got to a point, but that was because of rape. You want? I don't even need to put these all up on the screen. I can just say it. This one's funny though. So Codename Doodle says that I took an L listening to Victoria. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Bussing the whole time. Ooh. Ew. So, yeah, man. Somewhat educated liberal if they exist to debate with. Well, when it comes to abortion, there's not many good arguments. I mean, I don't think there's actually any good arguments. It's really just easy to debunk the abortion debate. If you're pro-life, you are on the right side. That is what it is. Like, I really tried that's why I constantly debate abortion as well. Not only that I just finished my document on it, but that it's important to talk about abortion and being pro-life, and it's important to not, advocate for the killing of, innocent persons in the womb. But, there are so many people that believe, I mean, like, over half of the population believes in being pro-choice. So like 52%, 53% of the population is like pro-choice. That's fucking scary to me. Even if it was 50-50, that is scary to me. That should be the minority, viewpoint. That should be the minority viewpoint. And it's because of people like Victoria, and I'm not even picking on her specifically. I just debated her, so I'm bringing her up. But people like Victoria, people like other, pro-choicers that you'll see that have huge followings on social media, leftist mainstream media, and the whole my body, my choice, no uterus, no opinion, really just trying to shut down actual discourse, the whole canceling of conservatives for conservatives to even get their message out there. So they really are just want to eliminate the opposition in totality from even speaking about it. The masses do, but even these people, it's clear to see that they do not have good arguments when it comes to abortion. They don't. You are on the wrong side of this. There are plenty of things that we can compromise on or have discussions on where maybe you can compromise at least a little bit. Maybe if you talk about things like open borders, maybe if you talk about things like drug legalization and things like that, sure. But when it comes to abortion, there really is no compromise for me. Same way when it comes to gun control, there's no compromise for me. You're on the wrong side of it. And that's why I want to continually debate this, because it's important, and I want people to understand this and to be pro-life. People like Victoria, she's not going to concede. She's just not that. She's not like, she's just not genuine that way. So she's not going to do that, no matter how hard she gets dunked on, or how many fallacies she commits, or how much she contradicts herself, or how bad faith she is. She's not going to concede anyway, because I don't know why. She's putting on for her followers. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you, but, or she just doesn't want to admit she's wrong, or maybe just not to me personally. Maybe she's just like, well, no, if I'm going to concede, it's just not going to be to Tyler. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you why, but there are people out there, guys. Like, seriously, I have had great debates. I'm going to upload one that I had just last night or late night Omegle debates, which I'm probably going to get on Omegle in a second too. Late night Omegle debates. And this person was pro-choice, but they didn't have a solid foundation, but they were like, I'm pro-choice. And then I kind of convinced them to be pro-life at the end, just because they didn't really know their stance, and I gave them a good argument. And, there are people out there, guys. There are liberals out there that are good faith debaters, and they are willing to hear you out. Now, it's harder to find them. I will definitely tell you that. It's definitely harder to find them, but they are out there. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to get on, I feel like I'm going to do some Amigos. So I'm going to end this broadcast. I'm going to get something to fucking eat, though. I'm super hungry. I'm going to go downstairs. I've just been eating fucking pretzels and Oreos. It's just killing me. So I need some real food, man. So I'm going to go downstairs, eat some food. I'll probably get on TikTok Live. So if you guys want to chat with me while I'm eating on TikTok Live, I'll do that probably in about 10 minutes or a couple minutes once I cook something up. Probably some like a cheesesteak or something with some mushrooms on it. Yeah, I mean, so like 10 minutes, I'll be on TikTok. We can have a chat there. And then after that, I will likely get onto Omegle and talk with some people. But thank you guys so much for being here. You guys are awesome. I really want to grow this YouTube. It was so cool that over 100 people were watching this. I think we were pretty much floating around like 120 to like 140 for a good period of time. Right now there's like 97 people watching it. So really, really awesome. I really want to grow this YouTube channel. I was going to do Twitch, but I don't think I'm going to do Twitch anymore. I've watched a lot of videos on whether you should first stream on Twitch or YouTube, and I think that I'm siding with the YouTube community on this one. I'm just gonna do it on YouTube. I don't think I'm even gonna be bothered with Twitch at all, and it's more accessible for other people. And one of the biggest things is that when you go on Twitch, like that fucking 30-second ad that always comes up when you watch something, I was like, I don't know how people even stand around after that shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I'm gonna have this on YouTube. More easily accessible and definitely easier for people to search to find videos on YouTube in general. So yeah, so we're gonna go this way. Yeah. See, the big brain conservative. I don't consider myself super big brain, but I don't consider myself smooth brained either. I'm in the middle. There are some topics that I'm just more knowledgeable on. I would be smooth brain when it comes to like economics. So that is a big brain, Benjamin politics thing or an Alex debates thing. You know what I mean? I am smooth brain on that topic. When it comes to abortion, no. There is big brain Tyler comes out to play when we're talking about abortion. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Again, I am going to go on TikTok live. So if you want to go over to my TikTok, you can go over there. I'll be live on there in about 5 or 10 minutes. You can go ahead and check me out over there. Just at Tyler Bluntman. Thank you guys again for being here. If I don't see you, have a great night.